your IT working on it though.
How about now?
There we go.
There we go.
All right, great, great.
That's Maureen Asper.
All right, we're good.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Good. Always a pleasure to see you.
Great to see you. It's great to see you guys another year.
Yep.
Maureen, who's first up to bat?
Not you, sir.
Okay.
You are up second, third, and fourth.
All right. Who is second that I have?
Mr. Nickel, I believe.
Okay, great.
I think it's seconded, yeah.
Great.
Actually, the order is Kiroka. You have Kiroka,
Oh, okay.
and then Hildebrand,
Right.
and then Nickel.
Okay. Kiroka, Hildebrand, and Nickel. Great.
Correct.
Man, B.
Okay.
Hi, Ian.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
How are you?
How are
Good,
you?
thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Happy New Year to all. Hopefully you're better 2021 than
Happy New Year.
2020 to all.
There's Brian. How you doing, Brian?
How are you?
Good.
We have everybody, right?
You.
Okay, says we're live. I'm just gonna check our YouTube account and make sure it's actually streaming. Give me 1 second. Mark is not joining us.
And Maureen, while we get organized, it's just the 3 attachments you sent out, right, in that email from a day or two ago?
Yes, the 2 resolutions and the revised payment resolution.
Thank you. Just
You're
gonna
welcome.
open them.
You're welcome. Okay, we are streaming live and we're ready to go. So shall I read the opening statement?
Please do.
Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring the state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Zoning Board of the Township of Wycloft does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, the meeting of the Zoning Board of the Township of Wycloft scheduled for Thursday, January 21, 2021 will be conducted virtually through Zoom technology, and it will be live streamed on the Township of Wycloft's YouTube channel. The work session is scheduled for 7:30, and the public business meeting will begin at 8 p.m. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide the ability to comment during the periods for public comment during the meeting through Zoom telephone call-in technology. Joining the meeting by telephone will be utilized as security against the sharing of inappropriate video content. General instructions regarding access to the meeting is posted on the Wycloft website homepage at www.wycloft-nj.com as a news item. The January 21, 2021 work session of the Wycloft Board of Adjustment is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wyclaw. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and mailed to said newspapers. Members of the public are welcome to be present at this meeting. However, in accordance with Section 7A of the Open Publics Meeting Act, participation on the part of the public at this meeting will not be entertained. All applicants are hereby reminded that your application, if approved, may be subject to the terms, conditions, and payment of the affordable housing development fee requirements of the township. Information can be obtained from the Code of the Township of Wycloft, Chapter 113-8, on the township's website, www.wycloft-nj.com. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. So first order of business will be to administer the oaths of office to our one new board member and our reappointed board members by our board attorney, Mr. Becker.
Thank you, Maureen.
You're welcome.
I'm going to first take the oath of our newest member, Nakia Rizvani. I think I said that right.
Yes, you did.
Nakia, if you could raise your right hand, please, and then just repeat
Okay.
after me as we go through the oath.
Should I stand?
Yes, stand and raise your right hand,
Yes.
please.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I, Nakia Rizvani,
I, Nakia Rizvani,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And I, Nakia Rizvani,
And I, Nakia Rizvani,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of the office
perform all the duties of the office
of Zoning Board of Adjustment
of Zoning Board of Adjustment
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and administer the oath to 3 of our existing members that are continuing on the board. That's going to be Mr. Christ, Mr. Kalpagian, and Mr. Rubenacher. So if all 3 of you can stand and raise your right hand, please. I state your name,
I, Ed Kalpagian,
I, Ian Christ,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will
bear
bear
true faith
and allegiance to the same
and
and
allegiance
allegiance to the same
and the governments established
and the governments
governments
established
established
in the United States
in the United
in the
States
United States
and this state
and
and
this
in this
state,
state,
under the authority of the people,
on the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And I state your name,
And I,
Ian Christ,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do
do
solemnly
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially
and justly
perform all the duties of the office
perform all the duties
all the duties of the office
of the Zoning Board of Adjustment
of the
of the Zoning
zoning
Board of Adjustment
according to the best of my ability,
according to the
according
best
to the
of my
best of my
ability,
ability.
so help me God.
so help me
So help
God.
me God.
Congratulations, gentlemen, and glad to see all 3 of you are back on the board.
Okay, the second order of business, now that everybody's taken the oath, is a roll call. So, Mr. Tanis. I saw him.
Here, sorry.
That's okay. Mr. Kalpagian,
Here.
Mr. Hubert,
Present.
Ms. Riato,
Here.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Here,
Mr. Christ,
Here,
Ms. Rizvani,
Here,
Mr. Borst,
Here.
Mr. Fry.
Here.
Okay. Next order of business, would someone like to nominate chairman for the Zoning Board of Adjustment for 2021?
I would like to make a motion for Carl Fry as the chairman of the zoning board for 2021.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Rubenacker?
Correct.
Mr. Tanis?
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian?
Yes.
Mr. Hubert?
Yes.
Ms. Riato?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker?
Yes.
Mr. Borst?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Okay, sure, I suppose.
It's the
Yes.
money that keeps you volunteering, right?
That's the only reason why I do it, money and the benefits.
All for
Supposedly
the
you're
money.
getting a 100% raise this year.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate the vote of confidence, and I do look forward to leading the board in 2021, hopefully a better year than 2020. And with any luck, sometime this year, we'll actually get to see each other on the dais and actually have a little different camaraderie. That's one thing I can always appreciate is spending time with the board. We have a great board. It's very easy to lead this board because we have such great characters. And I certainly appreciate that, and I know the town does as well. All right, that being said, can I have a motion for a vice chairman?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion and nominate Mr. Borst as vice chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kalpagian. Do I have a second?
I'll second that
second.
motion.
Second, Ms. Riotto?
Thank you. Mr. Tanis?
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian?
Yes.
Mr. Hubert?
Yes.
Ms. Riato?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker?
Yes.
Mr. Borst?
Yes.
Chairman Fry?
Yes. Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Well, we'll continue through the order of business. Item number 4, resolution number 21-001 is for the appointment of the zoning board attorney. Can I have a motion to approve Dave Becker as the board attorney for year 2021?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rubenacker, second.
Second.
Second by Mr.
Hubert.
Hubert. Thank you.
Mr. Hubert? Mr. Tanis?
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian?
Yes.
Mr. Hubert?
Yes.
Ms. Riato?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker?
Yes.
Mr. Borst?
Yes.
Chairman Fry?
Yes.
Thank you, members of the board. It's a pleasure working with all of you.
Dave, we feel the same way. I think you're certainly an asset to the board. We appreciate your expertise and guidance. You do an excellent job. Thank you. Okay, item number 5, appointment of board secretary. This was a close one. I wasn't sure. Can I get a motion to approve Maureen Mitchell to be the board secretary for the year 2021?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Kalpagian, second.
Second that motion?
Second by Ms. Riotto.
Thank you. Mr. Tanis?
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian?
Yes.
Mr. Hubert?
Yes.
Ms. Riato?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker?
Yes.
Mr. Borst?
Yes.
Chairman Fry?
A strong yes. Thank you and congratulations. Maureen, you also do an excellent job. If you want me to speak to anybody town hall, just let me know. I'll go have conversations with them. You're an asset to the board.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Not a problem. I'll make myself available for you. Okay, item number 6, compliance with Open Public Meetings Act. We can put all these together. It's 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, and 6.4. These are the 6.1 annual notice of meetings has been posted. This is that we are in compliance. 6.2, continuation of current rules and regulations. 6.3, official newspapers, the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News. And 6.4, acceptance of the annual report. Can I get a motion to approve compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Borst, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Tanis.
Mr. Tanis,
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Yes.
Mr. Hubert,
Yes.
Ms. Riato,
yes,
Mr. Rubenacker,
Yes.
Mr. Borst,
Sorry. Yes.
Chairman Fry.
Yes. Okay, one item before we get into old business, two items actually. We have the schedule of meetings for 2021 that was posted. It's the blue sheet that should have been in your packet so we can see when all the meeting dates are. Just one thing to point out, it is bold with an asterisk. February meeting is going to be February 25th. It will not be the traditional third Thursday of the month. It'll be the fourth Thursday of the month due to President's Week. Okay, so just note that on your calendars. Also in the packet, and I do go through this every year, I think it's extremely important. Maureen puts the package together. The 2020 annual report, which we just noted in 6.4. And this annual report, it's just a year in review, just high level. We had 21 applications for year 2020 versus 42 in 2019. So we're down 50%. 2020 was an interesting year. We had to jump ship from down at Town Hall. We skipped a meeting or two at least. And then we figured everything out and decided to go with Zoom. And it seems to work out pretty well. We thought there may be some struggles with people having to post drawings, but it seems to be working out okay. And it certainly is convenient at the end of the meeting. The commute home is short. So it does have some pros and cons. Again, I prefer, in person because I think you have that more personal touch and you get to see and have a little better dialogue perhaps with the applicant and also the other board members. But just to go through this really quick. So we had 21 total. The breakdown of that, we had 17 that were bulk variance, 3 were withdrawn, and we had 1 soil movement. That makes up the 21. And I'll just read what Maureen puts together as a narrative. Of the 17 approved bulk variance applications, 6 applicants were asked to submit revised plans at the request of the board to make the plans more conforming with the Wycloft zoning code. 2 applicants revised their plans so that variances were no longer required. In other words, they came before us, they had a variance, which is why they had to come before us. They then revised the plans to eliminate the variance. So that's a strong recommendation. It worked out well, and those applications were then withdrawn. 1 application was revised to eliminate the variance and withdrawn prior to even the hearing. So 6 applicants were asked by the board to submit revised landscape plans. 1 soil movement application was approved. Total applications submitted, 21 approved, 18 withdrawn, 3. So the reason that's important is people may have a certain perception of the board, and we always feel that we are extremely fair. We are not a board that doesn't listen to people and understand thoroughly with what the application is all about and what they're trying to accomplish. And we don't just shut people down. We give everyone the opportunity, and sometimes we do ask them to revise their plans so that they are a little more conforming. Sometimes they try to reach for the stars, and it's not something the board can accept. So we have them go back and modify it. And more often than not, I'd have to say we hear people come back and they're pleased with the revised drawings that they come up with, or the revised plans, the revised architecturals, the revised landscape plans. So people don't just come to the board and they go right through. They don't come to the board and get automatically denied because the board just doesn't want to hear it. That isn't how we operate. We listen, and I think the proof is that we've had people come back, they've revised their plans, and it's always a pleasure to hear, you know what, we're happier with the revised plans. So some things don't always work out, but I think we're a very understanding board that likes to work with all the homeowners in town. So that's the year in review. Anybody have any questions on that? Maureen, thank you for putting that together for me.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, let's go into the old business. Approval of the December 17th, 2020 work session and public meeting minutes. I looked through the minutes. I didn't see anything obvious that jumped out at me that was an error or needed to be revised or corrected. The only thing I did notice is in the public session, here, for the Brinza application, the motion was approved for the application with the condition that a 1,000-gallon dry well be installed in the front yard and a revised landscape plan will be submitted as had been discussed with the board. Do we know if that took place?
Good point. I did not receive the revised plans with the seepage pit, nor did I receive the revised landscape plan.
Okay, so we will not be able to memorialize.
Carl, Chairman, we can memorialize that, but they can't pull any permits till that's done. That's the
Okay,
kicker. I mean, those are conditions of their approval, so we can certainly approve the resolution, and that's what we really are trying to do, so we don't get caught in a bind in the future where a time period goes by from an approval to a memorialized resolution. It wasn't based upon, oh, we're not going to approve it until we see it, but they need to submit those things or they're not going to be able to pull permits and proceed. That's how we left that one. So we can approve the resolution.
so what happens if we approve and they fail to come back, period?
Well, if they don't do it within the time period, their approval lapses. So that's the bottom line. They can't pull any, they're not going to be able to do anything on this property until those items are addressed. Those are conditions of their approval. Just as if you had any kind of condition, like, you had to plant a certain tree, you needed to do so, whatever the condition is, they've got to meet those conditions to get, a CO or so forth. So if they don't do it, they're not going to get the CO in this case for the dry well, but the landscape plan, they're not even going to be able to pull the permit till they get that landscape plan in, and that's meets our criteria.
Okay, so we'll just have to make sure that that is documented well after this, should we move forward and approve that resolution. Building inspector, township engineer, when they go to pull permits, that's going to have to be flagged right off the bat in case they forget all about it. I did speak to Mr. DeGennaro. He also mentioned that he had not seen anything. So it sounds like the applicant has not brought down the information that was required.
And I had conversations with Mr. DeGennaro, not just about this one, but we did with other applications, said this was a better route to go, because when we get caught, we could get caught in a situation where we've approved an application, and when we say, well, but we're not going to approve the resolution, but you have a certain amount of time period, you got to memorialize a resolution. So that really put this board in a bind doing that.
So Dave, just explain though the timing though, because again, we talked about this a couple of meetings ago about bifurcating and whatever, but when you approve it, what's the time frame? Even if they don't satisfy the stipulations set forth in the, resolution, does that put the board in a bind?
Well, we would be more in a bind if we said, oh, we're going to approve it, but we're not going to memorialize a resolution unless they get certain things in, because we need to approve those resolutions. So it's better off, one of two ways to do it. One is to make it a condition of, and if you feel like you can't do it because there's too many things like on a landscape plan for them to come back with, and you want to be able to really see it, you better to make them come back and not even approve the application. In this case, I think it was pretty limited as to what you felt needed to be reviewed and done in the landscape plan. So it was just a condition of actually submitting that, and Mark would take a look at it, meaning DeGennaro, he would take a look at that to make sure they met those requirements. But in this case, they don't respond with that landscape plan, they can't move forward and get permits to do what they want to do. They submit the landscape plan, they move forward and they do the work on it. They're not going to get a CO until they meet those other conditions, just like anytime you have a condition on your approval. So.
And the other stipulation in this case is the seepage pit.
That's correct.
Revised.
Yeah, they have to get that one that needs to be on the plan.
Right, which again,
permit,
you can't get, right.
And if they don't have it on the plan, they're not getting the permit.
You're not getting a
on the
permit
plan, they have to actually construct it. They're not going to get the CO.
Right. If I can also add, so after applications are approved, I have to stamp 3 sets of the approved plans landscape application plans, I have to stamp them approved with the date of, when the board approved them. And the applicant has to pick up those sets of stamped approved plans in order to apply for their permits. I don't have any stamped approved plans for the Brinzas because we're waiting on the revised plans and the revised landscape plan. So they can't even,
So you have nothing to submit to the building department.
right, exactly.
Okay, all right, so there are fail safes in place already. They can't move forward. And the condition isn't a condition upon memorializing the resolution. It was a condition upon moving forward with pulling permits and continuing with the application as approved. Okay, all right, fine, you sold me. Okay. All right, so that was the only comment I had in the minutes. Board, any other comments? Concerns, questions? No. Okay. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the public and work session minutes from December 17th, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Hubert.
Hubert,
Second.
Rubenacker.
Second by Mr. Rubenacker.
Mr. Tanis,
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Yes.
Mr. Hubert,
Yes.
Ms. Riado,
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Yes.
Mr. Borst,
Yes.
Chairman Fry.
Yes. Okay. Resolutions for payment number 21-01. This time, I think I actually paid attention and printed out the revised copy. So we did get a revised. There should be 3 items on resolution number 21-01. The one that everyone has in front. Maureen sent out another copy during the week. So I'll go through them. Township engineer, the Brinza application, $237.75. Cangelosi application, $852.25. Item 2, return of escrow. Elaine application, $192.63. Pulio application, $348.20. Professional services / resolutions. Brinza application, $400. Cangelosi application, $400. Any questions on resolution number 21-01? Can I get a motion to approve resolution 21-01?
So moved.
Who was that?
Mr.
Mr.
Rubenacker.
Rubenacker,
Mr. Rubenacker, thank you. Second?
I'll second it, Mr. Tanis.
Second, Mr. Tanis. Okay.
Mr. Tanis,
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Yes.
Mr. Hubert,
Yes.
Ms. Riado,
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Yes.
Mr. Borst,
Yes.
Chairman Fry.
Yes. Okay, then we have those 2 resolutions, the Brinza resolution and the Cangelosi resolution. I read through both of those. Again, my only comment was whether or not we did receive that. We've had discussion on that, so we are clear to move forward with approval on these 2 resolutions. Anybody have any comments, errors, omissions for the 2 resolutions, the Brinza and the Cangelosi? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the resolutions for the Brinza application and Cangelosi application?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Riado,
Riado, second.
I'll second it. Mark
Second,
Forst.
Mr. Forst.
Mr. Tanis,
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Yes.
Mr. Hubert,
Yes.
Ms. Riado,
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Yes.
Mr. Borst,
Yes.
Chairman Fry.
Yes. Okay, before we get into the new applications, I do, once again, I know we were all present for the swearing in, but I do want to welcome Nikia Rizvani. I did get a chance to speak to her, although briefly, but she seems very enthusiastic and excited to join the board. She has a real estate background, which is certainly valuable for this. So she is probably going to be rather quiet at first, although she may surprise me and have a whole bunch of things that she wants to throw on the table. But certainly it's a learning process. I did have that conversation with her, but certainly there are items in her work that certainly will help benefit the board. And we do look forward to that. That's one of the great assets about this board is everyone kind of has their own perspective and their own area of expertise, and then everyone kind of blends together. So again, welcome. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
And I know you took it for the pay and the benefits as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, so we do have 5 applications tonight, so we're coming up on 8 o'clock. So we have the Michaela application. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. That is 191 Henry Place, Block 395, Lot 16. Then we have the Kiroka application, 469 Cedar Hill Ave, Block 349, Lot 70. The Hildebrandt application, 371 Oakwood Drive, Block 250, Lot 43. The Nickel application, 123 Midland Ave, Block 302, Lot 12.01. And the Brower application, 375 Butternut Ave, Block 462, Lot 17. One thing I do just want to get on record, I will be recusing myself for the Brower application, and Mr. Borst will be assuming the position as chair for that application. Does any other board member have to recuse himself for any of the applications? Okay. Okay, great. So let's jump right into these. Again, Mark DeGennaro is not with us. He is certainly missed, but we'll do our best to get through these applications. So I will act as Mr. DeGennaro and read his synopsis, which is always very valuable. We'll start with the Michaela application, 191 Henry Place. So this is the technical memorandum that Mr. DeGennaro creates for us. I've surveyed the following copy of survey prepared by Coogan and Thomas, dated last revised March 29, 1973, and marked up by the applicant. Application and photos. Summary: the existing single-family dwelling is situated in the RA25 zone and is non-conforming to the lot area, frontage, side yard setbacks, and accessory structure side yard setback. The applicant is seeking relief from the code to install central air conditioning and place the condenser units within the side yard setback, requiring variance relief. The following is a detailed summary of the project proposal. Lot size existing 11,150. This is an RA25 zone. Required is 25,000 square feet. Frontage required 125 feet, existing 50. There is a little bit of history that to this parcel of land that was in your applications as well, just to give you a little background as to how it came about as a 50-foot lot and what took place in the past, back in the 30s and 40s. The depth required is 150 feet, existing is 223 feet. Front yard setback, existing is 60 feet, required is 40 feet, proposed unchanged. Principal building side yard setback, existing side yard 1, 12 feet, proposed unchanged. Existing side yard number 2, 11.92 feet, proposed unchanged, required 20 feet each side. Principal building rear yard setback, existing 121 feet, required 40 feet, proposed 121 feet. Accessory structure setbacks, shed 80 square feet, side 3 feet, rear 12 feet, required is 6 feet in each direction. Deck 360 square feet, side 15.1 feet, rear 100 feet, required 15 feet side, 20 feet off the rear. AC units proposed at side 8 feet, required 15 feet. So that's the variance. There are several that are pre-existing that are unchanged. The AC unit proposed at 8 feet on the side yard setback, where 15 feet is required. That is the primary reason the applicant is before us tonight. Lot coverage is existing principal building 9.8%, maximum permitted 15%, proposed principal building unchanged. Maximum combined 20%, proposed combined unchanged. Existing combined 13.7%. Accessory lot coverage, maximum permitted 5%, existing coverage 3.9%, proposed coverage unchanged. Impervious coverage, maximum permitted 42.6%, proposed 33.65%, okay. so they are below the maximum impervious coverage. Height existing 22 feet, maximum permitted 35 feet, proposed principal unchanged. A stormwater management plan is not required for this application. Okay, so this one is rather simple. The applicant is looking to install AC in the home and the condensing units, which there is a picture of, and maybe we can just get some testimony as to which they are looking to install, but they do indicate those on the survey, and they are going to be 8 feet off the side yard setback, or 15 for an accessory structure, excuse me, is required. Board, any questions on this application? Okay. All right, we'll move on. I apologize, there is a lot of reading, but I think it's important to at least get it on record so everyone can understand what the application is about.
It's pretty straightforward, Mr. Chairman, no.
Great, okay. Thank you, Mr. Huber. Okay, the second application is the Kiroka application. Again, we are in the work session, so this is not an opportunity for the public to participate. This is strictly just a review and allows the board to maybe raise some questions. And if someone on the board did have a question, they can have some dialogue amongst themselves. It's not an opportunity for the public. Kiroka application 469 Cedar Hill Ave, block 349, lot 70. Okay. Date January 14th, 2021, 469 Cedar Hill Ave, block 349, lot 70. This is also an RA25 zone. I've read the following documents: plot plan and architectural plan prepared by William Brown Architect, dated revised through 7/10/2020, sheet A-0, 1, and 2. Photographs and application. Summary: the existing single-family dwelling is situated in the RA25 zone, is conforming. The applicant is proposing to construct a 2-story addition and covered porch requiring variance relief for side yard setback. The following is a detailed summary of the project proposal. Lot size: existing 32,620 square feet. 25,000 is required, so they are conforming. Frontage required 125 feet, existing 135.54 feet. Depth required 150 feet, existing is 266 feet. Front yard setback: existing 47.2 feet, required is 40 feet, proposed unchanged. Principal building side yard setback: existing side yard number 1, 27.8 feet, proposed 16.2 feet. Existing side yard number 2, 37.5 feet, proposed 37.5 feet. Required 25 feet each side. The gross building area is above 3,700 square feet, which triggers the enhanced side yard setback. So the side yard setbacks increase from 20 feet each side to 25. Principal building rear yard setback: existing 118.2 feet, required 40 feet, proposed unchanged. Lot coverage percentage: existing principal building 11.01%, maximum permitted 15%, proposed principal building 12.87%. That would be conforming. Accessory lot coverage: existing 0.18%, proposed 3.19%. Compliant pool and outdoor kitchen, maximum permitted 5%. Combined lot coverage: maximum permitted 20%. Existing 9.8%, proposed 16.06%. Height: existing 31.67 feet, maximum permitted 35 feet, proposed principal building 29.48 feet. Existing stories 2.5, maximum permitted 2.5, proposed stories unchanged. Impervious coverage: max permitted 28.5%. The proposed impervious coverage is 24.18%, which is less than the maximum allowed. The property is served by septic system installed within the last 10 years, and the addition does not include an increase in bedroom count. Therefore, septic does not require expansion. Okay, so this is an addition off the back of the house, and there is an encroachment into the side yard setback to 16.2 feet. So side yard setback number 1. One note on this application: it is an irregular lot. The home does not sit square to the lot, which does offer another challenge and hardship. So we'll hear testimony on it, but the irregularity of the lot is a little unique, where that left side kind of turns in, so it shaves away some of that side yard setback. And it looks like that's the side where they're looking to do a small addition, and then also do a covered patio out the back of the house. Board, any questions that you want to discuss?
Just a quick question on this. Unfortunately, I did not get to visit the sites this month. So the way I'm understanding it, this pool is proposed and the patio does not exist. Is that correct?
That's right.
So the one question I have is the setback for the patio. I guess we'll need a little testimony of what's required. Is that part of the variance on this?
So yeah, so it's a covered porch. It's an outdoor porch, fireplace.
Yeah.
Right, so they have to be 25 feet off that side yard setback.
My question is the patio, the paver patio. I don't know the requirements for that is my question.
Let me see.
And the reason I bring it up, I know we had the one application on Wycloft Ave where they had the patio going close to the property line. That was an issue. I just didn't know what the setback was for the patio.
My understanding is that proposed patio does not even come into play for side yard. It would be, actually, it doesn't even come into play for impervious.
Okay.
The structure itself is what does. It has, it's an open structure, but it has a roof. So the proposed covered porch is what comes into play.
Yeah, I guess I thought there was a setback requirement for a paver patio.
No, maybe it was an application that had the pool and the coping was up against, or there was one that was like within 10 feet of the side yard setback from the coping, and they had pavers there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just something I didn't see part of the application, and I was concerned about that one.
Okay.
Because the application I'm referring to, it was a paver issue going up towards the property line setback.
Okay, I did have a discussion. Yeah, I did have a discussion with Mr. DeGennaro just to kind of go over each of these. That is one thing he did not comment on as being a part of the application.
Thank you.
This, I believe there is representation by Mr. Cook. He may also shed some light on this as well. Any other questions? No? Okay. Move on. Okay, the third application is the Hildebrand application, 371 Oakwood Drive, block 250, lot 43. Okay, this is dated January 14th, 2021, 371 Oakwood Drive, block 250, lot 43, also in an RA25 zone. I have reviewed the following documents: plot plan and architectural prepared by William Brown Architects, revised through 9/25/20, sheets A0, 1, and 2. Application and photos. The existing single-family dwelling is situated in the RA25 zone and has existing non-conforming conditions due to deficiencies in lot size, frontage, depth, and accessory structure side yard setback. The applicant is proposing to add a second-story loft area above the existing detached garage, requiring variance relief for side yard setback. The following is a detailed comparison of the project proposal. Lot size: existing 12,807 square feet, where required is 25,000 square feet. Frontage required 125 square feet, existing is 85 square feet. Depth required 150 feet, existing 148 feet. Front yard setback: existing 40.22 feet, required 40 feet, proposed unchanged. Principal building side yard setback, existing number 1, 25.44 feet, proposed unchanged. Existing number 2, 24.83 feet, proposed unchanged. Required 20 feet each side. Principal building rear yard setback, existing 66.80 feet. Required 40 feet, proposed is unchanged. Lot coverage, existing principal building 8.78%. Maximum permitted 15%. Proposed building, principal building unchanged. Existing accessory structure 4.92%. Maximum accessory structure permitted 5%. Proposed accessory unchanged. Combined coverage max 20%. Proposed combined coverage unchanged. Existing combined coverage 13.7%. So they are looking to build up directly over that detached garage. Height of the garage existing 15.8 feet, maximum permitted 20 feet. They are proposing 21.7 feet, requiring a variance. Accessory structure garage, rear yard rear setback required 20 feet. Rear yard setback existing 35.4 feet, proposed unchanged. Side yard setback required 15 feet. Side yard setback existing 10.8 feet, proposed unchanged. So they are that's an existing nonconformity at 10.8 feet off that property line. Impervious coverage is below the 40%, where they are at 28.1%. This application does not require a stormwater management plan. Mr. DeGennaro did have a couple of notes. It is recommended that the resolution of approval clearly state that the garage may not be permitted now or in the future. Clearly state that the garage, it is recommended that any resolution of approval clearly state that the garage may not be permitted now or in the future to include a full bathroom and kitchen, and shall not be permitted to be used as a separate living quarters or apartment or business space other than those permitted by the ordinance. It's further recommended that the deed be recorded accordingly and proof filed with the township prior to issuance of any permits. So the point of it is he just wants to make sure this is not going to be an apartment, another housing unit, or a place of business that could be that would be used, and if so, it has to be within whatever is permitted via the township ordinance. So just a couple notes. Okay, this one
Question
also
on that. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Carl, you finish. I apologize.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, really the key for this is they're looking to propose an addition to the existing detached garage, which if you had to look at it, it's tucked right behind the house. And they're looking to go up to 21.7 feet. So we'll certainly get some testimony as to why they couldn't meet the 20 feet and see what they have to say. There are some other pre-existing nonconformities, but the primary reason they are here is for the increase above the 20 that is permitted for the accessory structure.
Mr. Chairman, they also would be a variance for the side yard setback for the accessory use as well, because they are going up. The way we interpret that is, even though the existing structure is already in there, because they're going up, that requires a variance as well. So there's really two variances.
You're stealing my thunder. I was getting to that. So the other part of the application is the existing garage is non-conforming, and they are building on top of that. So the side yard setback is also coming into play. I may not have said it as eloquently as Mr. Becker, but there it is. All right, Mr. Rubenacker, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, just a question, and maybe this is for Mr. Becker. So does the homeowner have a right to put a bathroom in their garage if as long as we put it on the record that they can't make it a living space or a business space? But you know, if the homeowner wants to put a bathroom in their garage, is it the township's prerogative to tell them that they can or can't do that?
Well, they can tell them no, because what you're worried about is any kind of livable space. But if the board's comfortable with it, you know, they can certainly allow it. with the restriction, what they're looking for, what Mark DeGennaro is proposing is a deed restriction limiting any kind of living space. I mean, obviously if they're coming in here and needing the variances, you can be restrictive of what they can do in that space. That's why they're here. So you can kind of, if they were coming in here and they were not needing any variances and they put it in there and it wasn't a livable space, there's nothing really the board would be able to do at that point in time. But they're coming before you, so you have the right to say this is what you can or can't do to get your variance.
Correct. Okay.
That's really the issue. But if they want to allow them to do, put a sink in or something of that nature, you just would want to put some kind of deed restriction. At least that's what Mr. DeGennaro is saying.
Right. But there's no ordinance against bathrooms and garages.
No, it's just you can't have livable space.
Correct. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I was just curious.
And again, if they weren't coming before us, they could go ahead and put that in there. But now you have to look at the whole structure. That's the issue.
Understood.
We should be able to get some testimony from the applicant on just the logic and rationale of why, I guess, right?
Sure, absolutely.
To Eric's comment, whatever, to your point, Dave, that, basically there's no ordinance that prohibits it, but just understand the logic, to avoid something in the future, a potential problem.
Yep. So I think it's important that we at least get that out. We have the discussion in the work session. And at the end of the day, Mark was very clear that whatever the use is, it has to be conforming to the zoning code for the township. So at the end of the day, they still have to comply no matter what. So we can get some testimony as to what exactly they're looking to do with that space. Anything else? Okay. Let's move on. Okay, the next application is the Nickel application, 123 Midland Ave, block 302, lot 12.01. This is another expansion to the garage, I believe. There is a history. You should have had a little bit of a history from Ms. Mitchell in the application as to activity on that site before. It looks like at one point they came before the board. It was a minor subdivision, actually, so they subdivided this lot, and it was agreed to in 1971. And as part of that, it created two lots, both with deficient frontages. Okay. All right, again, dated January 14th, 2021. This is 123 Midland Ave, block 302, lot 12.01. One slight change, there's a typo. This is an RA15 zone, not an RA25 zone. I have reviewed the following information: plot plan and architectural prepared by Edwin Sherman, RAPP revised through 10/5/20, sheets A3 and A4, A3 and 4. Property survey prepared by Land Associates dated 8/25/20. Photos and application. Summary: the existing single-family dwelling is located in the R15 zone and non-conforming due to frontage, side yard setback, principal building, enhanced side yard, and accessory structure coverage. The applicant seeks a variance to add a two-story addition to the principal structure, as well as a second-story addition above the existing garage. The following is a detailed summary of the project proposal. Lot size: existing 17,730 square feet, where 15,000 is required. Frontage required 100 feet. Existing is 90 feet. So pre-existing, that was part of the subdivision. They do have the square footage, they just didn't have the frontage. Depth that's required 125 feet, existing 188.84 feet. Front yard setback: existing 65.3, required 40 feet, proposed unchanged. Principal building side yard setback: existing 10.5 feet and 36.5 feet. Proposed 10.5 feet and again 36.5 feet. Required 20 feet as triggered by the enhanced side yard setback. Principal building rear yard setback: existing 81 feet, proposed 77 feet, required 30 feet. Lot coverage: existing principal building 5.97%, proposed principal building 7.05%, maximum permitted 15%. Existing accessory structure 10.62%, maximum accessory permitted 5%, proposed accessory 9.54%. That's actually coming down slightly. Combined 16.59%, where the max permitted is 20%. Height, proposed principal 23.5 feet, 2 stories, permitted principal 35 feet, 2.5 stories, proposed accessory 19.7 feet, permitted height 20 feet. So they are below the 20-foot height for the accessory structure. Accessory setbacks require 10 feet rear and side. Garage cabana, 835 square feet, existing 11.10 feet, proposed unchanged. Garage cabana, existing 12.20, proposed unchanged. Existing pool, side and rear compliant, greater than 10 feet. Impervious coverage, 26.8%, less than the 33.8% allowed. That is okay. The property is served by sanitary sewer. Stormwater management is not applicable. It is recommended that only bathroom permitted be a half bath, toilet, and sink only. And any resolution of approval clearly states that the garage cabana may not be permitted now or in the future to include a kitchen and shall not be permitted to be used as a separate living quarters, such as an apartment or business space other than those permitted by the ordinance. It is further recommended that the deed be recorded accordingly and proof filed with the township before issuance of any permits. So similar notes to the last one. This application, in short, they are putting an addition on the house. The house itself is not conforming. The proposed addition is conforming. And they have the existing garage, which they are looking to build over, and that garage is not conforming. They have to be 20 feet as per the enhanced side yard setback. They're at 10.5 and proposing at 10.5. So there are a couple of things going on with this application. Looks like the addition to the house is really not too big. We'll certainly get some testimony on that. But the garage and that whole space cabana, we would definitely have to ask some questions to see what the intentions are with that space.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, too, just to follow up, because it is similar to the other one, and follow up on Mr. Rubenacker's question. These are recommendations. I mean, obviously, this board doesn't have to follow them every detail of it, but what can't happen here is that becomes livable space or business space, because that's not permitted by the ordinance unless they came in on a D variance, which I doubt this board would approve. So what he's really recommending is things to try to prevent that from happening, but you don't have to follow it word for word if this board chooses not to. Their recommendations, but what can happen is it can't be livable or commercial space. And he's just making recommendations, maybe good ones. It's up to you as board members how you want to follow those recommendations.
Right. I think that's just for the advantage of the board, just to get some ideas of things to consider. And again, they are recommendations. But regardless, everything has to be compliant with the township ordinance with whatever they end up doing. All right, board, any questions on this application?
Is there a landscape plan to this, or? I mean, I didn't see any, so.
So they're doing nothing with the front of the house, right? Everything is in the back. It's a small addition off the back, right in the center.
I mean, the side yard, I mean, again, we can get testimony of what, you know.
That is all, let me just double check. I believe that's all existing. So the 10.5 and 11.5, that's all existing currently, 2-story. The addition is in the back.
I mean, all I'm raising the question is that when you look at it from the side, should there be some type of screening or whatever? We can get testimony from the applicant, but.
Sure.
It looked like they were building right above the deck.
I mean, that's what it seems like. I mean.
Yeah.
But
And
again.
there was very tall screening on that side of the property.
Right.
Already
Yep.
on the property. It was pretty tall if you had a chance to look at it.
Right.
But it didn't look like the type of construction he's doing was going to disturb much landscaping, but
Yeah.
I would
But
defer.
again, I just get testimony just to make sure that we're you know, providing.
I got
Sure. Good point. Anything else?
And it looks like this property cuts through Midland Park, the front
It does.
left corner.
Yep. So since the principal structure in its entirety is in Wycloft, it does not have to go before Midland Park. The entire application will be heard in Wycloft.
Perfect. All right, cool.
Yep. Excellent. I could ask that same question, thinking, do two boards have to hear this application?
Well, I saw a letter from Harold Cook's office with a letter back from Millen Park said they didn't even want to look at it.
Yep.
Okay.
We've received those before from them. Okay, anything else?
The only thing I want to note, there's some discrepancies between the section J, Mr. DeGennaro's report, and the zoning table on the architecturals on the impervious coverages. It's pretty big discrepancies between them, so I'd just like to hear some testimony when we go into the public session on that from the applicant.
Great point. Thank you. Okay, we'll get testimony as to which one is correct and how they came up with those figures. Anything else? Okay. All right, the next application is the Brower application. As I mentioned before, I'll be recusing myself. So Mr. Borst, if you would not mind, you've got some reading to do, you can go over the Brower application.
Sure. So Brower application, 375 Butternut Avenue. The property is located in the RA25 zone, is non-conforming as to lot size, frontage, front yard setbacks, and accessory structure setback. The applicant appeared before the zoning board on April 19, 2007, seeking front yard setback variance for an addition and alteration of an existing home, and was granted a front yard setback variance of 31.75 feet measured to the front step. The current proposal seeks to install an accessory in-ground swimming pool requiring variance relief. The following are the details. Existing 15,000 square foot lot, required 25,000 square foot lot. Frontage required 125, existing 100 feet. Front yard setback, existing is 31.75, required is 40, proposed unchanged. Side yard setback, existing is 25 feet, side yard 1, proposed untouched. Existing side yard number 2, 21.1, untouched, required 20 feet. Rear yard setback, existing 71.3, required 40, proposed untouched. Existing accessory structured, required is a setback of 15 feet side, 20-foot rear. Shed is 96 square feet. Side yard setback is 4.8. Required side yard is 15. Rear yard setback is 9.5. Required is 20. There is no record of a permit for the shed. Deck, side yard setback, 20 foot each side. Rear yard setback, 61. Proposed pool, 924 square feet. Proposed side yard setback is 15 and 30. Proposed rear is 20. Lot coverage, existing principal building is 11.7. 15 is the maximum. Proposed building untouched. Existing accessory structure is 4.8. Maximum permitted is 5. Proposed accessory is 11. Maximum combined principal and accessory coverage is 20%. Maximum permitted principal is 15. Existing combined is 16.5. Proposed combined is 22.7. Height is 32 existing, maximum permitted is 35, proposed untouched. Stormwater management design has been submitted and complies with the town's requirements. Property surveyed by municipal sewer. Landscape evergreen screen has not been provided around the pool equipment as required. The existing shed does not appear to have a permit and encroaches on the side yard and rear setbacks The board should consider it if additional variance will be granted for the shed or should it be relocated to a compliant location. A permit will be required in either case. Board, I did not get out to see this site, so I don't know if anybody has comments on this or any questions. Seeing none, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Chair. You're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Boris. All right. So those are the 5 applications that we will hear tonight. Anything else while we're still on the work session, or if not, I'll entertain a motion to close the work session.
So moved.
Second,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, do we need to take 5 minutes, or are we ready to roll right into the public?
Let me just take a quick 5-minute bio.
Okay. All right. It's 8:35, 8:40, we'll reconvene.
And you? Okay, we're back.
Okay. All right, we'll get started. The Open Public Meetings Act. Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9th, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Zoning Board of the Township of Wycloft does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, the meeting of the Zoning Board of the Township of Wycloft scheduled for Thursday, January 21st, 2021, will be conducted virtually through Zoom technology, and it will be live streamed on the Township of Wycloft's YouTube channel. The work session is scheduled for 7:30, and the public business meeting will begin at 8 p.m. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide the ability to comment during the periods for public comment during the meeting through Zoom telephone call-in technology. Joining the meeting by telephone will be utilized as security against the sharing of inappropriate video content. General instructions regarding access to the meeting is posted on the Wycloft website homepage at www.wycloft-nj.com as a news item. The January 21st, 2021 public meeting of the Wycloft Board of Adjustment is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wycloft. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and mailed to said newspapers. All applications are hereby reminded that your application, if approved, may be subject to the terms, conditions, and payment of affordable housing development fee requirements of the township. Information can be obtained from the code of the Township of Wycloft, Chapter 113-8, on the township's website, www.wycloft-nj.com. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Ms. Mitchell, roll call, please.
Mr. Tanis,
Here.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Here.
Mr. Hubert,
Present.
Ms. Riado,
Here.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Here.
Mr. Christ,
Here.
Ms. Rizvani,
Here.
Mr. Borst,
Here.
Chairman Fry.
Here. All right, if we can, Maureen, can you put a flag up on the screen? We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rubenacker, if you would lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag
of the United States of America,
America.
to the republic for which it stands,
Stand.
one nation,
Nation under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and
liberty and
justice for all.
justice for all.
All right. All right, thank you, everyone, and good evening. Okay, so we went through the organizational business, old business resolutions for payment and resolutions to be memorialized. We do have 5 applications that we are going to hear tonight. I'll go through them quickly. The Michaela Application, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name on any of these. Please feel free to correct me when we call your name and it's your opportunity for application. Michaela Application 191 Henry Place, Block 395, Lot 16. Kiroka Application 469 Cedar Hill Ave, Block 349, Lot 70. Hildebrandt Application 371 Oakwood Drive, Block 250, Lot 43. Nickel Application 123 Midland Ave, Block 302, Lot 12.01. And the Brower Application 375 Butternut Ave, Block 462, Lot 17. Okay. That being said, why don't we jump right into the first application, which will be the Michaela Application 191 Henry Place. I see Mr. Michaela. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
It's Michaela, but that's okay. No worries.
Mr. Michaela, will you be the only one testifying tonight on your behalf?
I am.
If you could raise your right hand, I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could, again, just state your name, spelling your last name for the record.
Okay, first name is Ray, R-A-Y. Last name Makela, M-A-K-E-L-A.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Michaela, so we had a little discussion. It's a rather simple application. So why don't you tell us what you're looking to do?
Yeah, so currently the house does not have air conditioning. We've been relying on the window units, and it's time to put one in. And because of the lot size and the side yard setbacks, our only option really that would make sense given the lot and was to place the condensing units to the side of the house rather than can't place them at the front, and because there's a deck in the back, can't really put them at the end of the deck either for practical reasons. And so therefore the variance to put them to the side of the house with the setbacks according to the application.
Okay, so I did take a look at the property. I did take a look at where you're proposing. So one thing, you have a picture that you provided the board, and it shows there's no page on it, but it's the picture that has that side exposure that you're looking to install the units. There's an existing like brick pad there currently.
Correct.
So you have two different units that you're proposing. Are you considering a split unit?
Correct. Yes. The consideration was to put a split where the heat pump would provide cooling for downstairs, and then the quote-unquote regular unit for upstairs.
So is the only difference the size difference? It would be what we're seeing here. It's the two on the left or the two on the right.
What I intended to indicate there was that the two on the left would be the positioning of the two units, either on top of the existing pavers or to the left of them, because we need to put the garbage cans somewhere, so we need to accommodate those as well. And the garbage and recycling are currently on top of the pavers. And so that's why I put the, I intended to have that was intended to be the location, the alternate location. There's a few feet difference there, so not major, but I thought I would put that in there anyway.
All right, so just one thing. So thank you for clearing that up. Okay, so it's the location. I thought maybe the unit on the right was a larger tonnage and you weren't sure what you were going to go with.
Well, sorry, I should have probably articulated it on the picture, but that's the.
No problem. All right, so no matter what, on the pad, if that's the desired location and that's what you're seeking approval for, then that's fine. If you were to do the units, if you were to, I'm just saying this for your own knowledge, if you were to pour a pad, then it would affect the application a little bit because now you've poured a pad. So it's going to affect your impervious coverage. I guess the option is a lot of these units now, they have a pre-formed pad that they just slap right down and it probably doesn't count for anything.
That's also my understanding that's what they use. Yes.
Okay. Did you consider it all? I mean, I looked at this, you don't have a ton of options really. Did you consider putting it towards the rear where the house kind of returns in and meets up with the deck?
And in the sort of in the corner there.
Yeah.
That was part of the consideration, but then because then that would expose it to the deck, and then because there would be two separate units, I found it somewhat difficult to find an appropriate placement for them there. The other thing was that the current location the units would be facing the neighbor's garage, and therefore, any type of noise would not, or anything like that, would reach the deck on the neighbor's side from a noise perspective. So I figured that the placement of the side of the house would be the most convenient for everybody.
Okay, yeah. So it looks like where you're proposing, the house to your left, it looks like that is a garage that comes closest to your property, and there's some pretty significant screening in there as well. So that is a valid point. If you put it towards the rear, then I guess they'll hear it in the backyard as well, which may not be the best location. I figured I would just ask the question. Board members, any questions for Mr. Michaela?
I have none. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. My comment was what you raised, Carl, is could you put it in the back? But it just seems like it's more logical to the other side of the house where, again, the garage muffles the sound. So, yeah, you're right.
Sorry to interrupt. Maureen, Rose got booted off trying to get back in. You're on mute.
I saw that.
Okay.
I'm hoping she's able to get back in. She did say earlier that she was having a lot of problems today with getting booted off Zoom.
Okay.
I'm assuming she's trying to get back in.
Yeah, she's trying to reconnect. She said Wi-Fi isn't cooperating.
Well, I mean, we have our alternates if you want to move ahead.
Yeah. Okay, well, as we get further along, we'll see if she's able to
Yes.
reconnect. Okay.
There she is.
She is, all right. Okay. Ms. Riota, all right, you able to hear us?
Good? She's muted.
You're muted.
Were you talking to me? Sorry, guys. I got
No.
completely, yeah, I'm sorry. I got booted off and I'm on my phone. My computer is just not letting me go back in.
All right, we can see you, we can hear you. That's good.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right, technology.
Yeah.
I just opened it up, so I don't know where you dropped off. We just had a little discussion about the location of the condensing units and just clarification as to what the applicant's looking to do. And it's either the 2 units on the existing pad that's there or a preform type pad that they'll put under, but they're proposing on that left-hand side. So we asked the question if he could move it towards the rear, maybe by the deck where the house returns to get it a little further off the property line. The applicant did look at it and considered it. However, a couple things came up, and one of them being the location is right next to where the neighbor's garage is. So as far as it impacting other people as well, that location he felt would be the best and at least at least impactful to the neighbors. So I was just opening up if anybody did have any other questions for the applicant.
The only question I had is on the survey, there is a bubble that shows the placement of the air conditioning units, and it says shrubs. Are those existing, or are those going to be replaced, or are you going to put anything new? I know there's other screening on the property line, but I didn't know if you were planning on doing any other plantings in that area.
There are some shrubs there, actually a couple of trees that you can see on the same page where I'm depicting the units, the 2 locations for the unit, this location for the units. The picture above that, you will see that there are 2 plants, a couple of shrubs, I call them. They're not particularly pretty, so we are going to replace them so as to make sure that there is appropriate coverage then from a plant perspective. And alternatively, we've been considering putting a lattice type fence there a little bit to shield the view. As I indicated earlier, that there are also the garbage cans that we keep there. So that way they are out of sight, both the garbage cans as well as the units.
So are you proposing to put a lattice fence up, or for the purpose of this application, are you just thinking replace in kind with shrubs?
So if the board is okay with with the current shrubs that are there, then our plan was to replace them with some similar ones. There was also the thought of putting some lattice, but that really had nothing to do with the application itself. That was just a thought that we had, because these are not particularly pretty. Maybe that would have been an option for us, but I don't know whether there are any permit issues with with some lattice or no. But it is our intent that there are these trees will get replaced. If no lattice, will be okay. So I guess that was the question, Ms. Tanis. Was that your question specifically, that there needs to be some shrubs or trees or whatnot in front there?
Yeah, I think the board is always looking for screening, especially when you're encroaching into the side yard setbacks. So anything, any additional screening that you can provide to hide that and create as a buffer zone for your neighbors, we always appreciate that. And
certainly, and there are actually quite a bit of again, if you look at the picture that I referred to earlier on the right hand side, there's quite a bit of shrubs that are on the neighbor's side, so it is pretty well screened.
thank you.
Sure.
So it sounds like you're proposing to replace with in-kind type material plantings in front, just to create some screening in the front.
Yeah, make them a little prettier, because they're not that pretty right now.
I would kind of defer to Mr. Borst. That area is heavily screened. I don't know how much you'd really want to put back there that would make it. Maybe Mr. Borst can add a little commentary to that, but you've got a walkway right there that's adjacent to it. Is that correct?
Yes.
So really what we like to do is we like to screen it from the neighbors, but you have so much there already on that side. And with the walkway going right next to it, I don't know that you'd really be able to add any screening right next to the units. I agree with the front. Clean that up, replace it with in-kind, so it's a little less conspicuous, and it cleans it up. That way you don't see the visual from the street. Mr. Borst, any comments on that, Mike?
I agree with that. I think my one suggestion would be not to put the air conditioning units on the brick pad. I would actually set it behind that, because it appears, according to the pictures, that brick pad is very close to the front corner of the home. So if we were to move that back behind the brick platform, we could actually get some shrubbery up front that we wouldn't even be able to see it then, I think, in my opinion.
So shrubbery still in front of the pad, though, closer to the front of the house, or are you thinking behind the pad in front of the units?
Either one, right? So if we look at the picture of the front of the house to the left, you can see there's two plants there that really do not have much branching on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they're the two that we're referring to. If they were to come out and something was planted in their place or back towards the backside of that paver pad, I don't think we'd ever see the units from the street.
Yeah, I agree.
So that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Simply replacing the two with something that is appropriately greener from the bottom, because these are just simply dry and that they're not doing very well there.
Yeah. Yep. I think what we just do, if we approve this, just put something in notation that there'll be a few plants to screen the AC units from the street.
Evergreens. Yep. Okay. Board, any other comments, questions? All right. Ms. Mitchell, do we have anyone from the public? I'll open up to the public if anyone cares to speak on behalf of the Michaela Application, 191 Henry Place.
Mr. Nobile, are you calling in about this application?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
Which application?
yeah,
The Kiroka.
Kiroka.
okay,
Very good. Thank you.
we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
That's it, Carl, Mr. Chairman, no other callers.
Okay. All right, very good. Then we'll close public comments. Okay, board, this one's pretty cut and dry. I don't know if there's too much more to talk about, but certainly I'll open it up one last time if anybody has any questions for the applicant. Don't all speak at once. Okay. All right. So the applicant's proposing the units to go on the left-hand side. I tend to agree, maybe put it behind. If you're going to have garbage cans and everything there, then maybe set it off that pad just behind the existing pad that you have. Replace the shrubs that you have in the front of the house with something in kind, evergreen, that would be appropriate for it. You have significant screening on that other side. I think that would probably be sufficient. Okay. All right, board. I'll open up if anyone would like to make a motion on the Michaela Application, 191 Henry Place.
I'll make a motion to approve 191 Henry Place, Block 395, Lot 16, as proposed with the stipulation of replacing the 2 plants towards the front left of the house with proper material to screen the air conditioner units.
Okay, motion by Mr. Borst. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Mr. Hubert. Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. Tanis?
Yeah.
Mr. Kalpagian?
Yes.
Mr. Hubert?
Yes.
Ms. Riato?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenecker? Mr. Rubenecker?
I think Eric's rebooting.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'll mark him as abstain.
I
Yeah,
can,
the Wi-Fi is awful right now in my area. I can't connect my computer at all.
okay, so can I call on alternate number 1?
You go to an
Sure.
alternate.
Mr. Christ?
Yes.
Mr. Borst?
Yes.
Chairman Fry?
Yes.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Christ in a pinch.
Yeah, from downtown.
I don't know
Yes.
if it counts for the record or not, but Mr. Rubenacker did message me and said he's voting yes. I don't know if you
Okay,
can. Or not,
Mr. Becker?
We're going with the member who's actually here because he's not in person.
I would too.
And maybe we can't trust Ed, I don't know.
I trust Ed, but you can't give
Okay.
a proxy vote.
I'm kidding.
I go with the man who's got the better Wi-Fi personally.
Being the safest one is the people that are here, so, and it's not going to be controversial to do so.
That's true. All right. Okay, Mr. Michaela, congratulations. Good luck with adding the AC units and enjoying the cooler air than the window units that you've been dealing with. For,
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
long. Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, next application is the Kiroka Application, 469 Cedar Hill Ave, Block 349, Lot 70. That is Mr. Cook, who is all set and ready to go.
We're all queued up. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I'm off mute. You can hear me, correct?
We can. Thank you.
Great. All right, I'm here. I have Mr. and Mrs. Kroger with me and Mr. Brown, our architect. I had the benefit of listening in during the work session, and this is, we're seeking one variance for a side yard setback where the new addition is going. And if you look at the dimensions of the property, it actually skews in. This is a uniquely shaped property. The dwelling is sitting on the property lawfully now, but because of the unique shape of the property, it creates a hardship. If the property line went straight back, we wouldn't need the variance for side yard setback. This is also a flexible variance in that this addition is adding architectural features that are aesthetically pleasing, and the benefits derived therefrom outweigh any detriments in granting the variance. So that's the basis of our application. I have Mr. Brown here, who I'd like to have sworn in, and he prepared the plans, and he can give the testimony relative to the addition. We can address the issue raised with the paver patio and the open porch. So if I could have Mr. Brown sworn.
Sure. Mr. Brown, can you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could, for the record, state your last name, spelling your last name, and just giving your business address.
Yes, it's William Brown, William G. Brown Architects, 241 Madison Avenue, Wycloft, New Jersey.
Mr. Chairman, I know Mr. Brown's been here many times, so I leave it to you as whether you want to hear his credentials or so.
No, I don't think we have to. He's appeared before the board plenty of times. He's certainly qualified. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
So he's been accepted as an expert in architecture. Thank you, Mr. Cook and Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Becker, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Brown, you prepared the architectural plans and the site plan in this matter, correct?
Yes, I have.
I'd like you to address the site plan first. Would you describe the shape of the lot?
The shape of the lot is a large lot, which helps us greatly in a lot of the different areas. But the one situation, the lot angles in on the left side with some strange curve right at the rear of the home, and it causes a lot of zoning issues in terms of the side yard setback. Also, the house is skewed on the lot, so as the board can see, the front of the house is clearly centered on the lot and within the setbacks, but the house angles back right up to the left side setback line, and the Kirokas would like to put a pool in. The other constraining fact is the main door to the house is on the right side, even though the front door is on the existing front porch. And the garage doors, if the whoever members were there, the garage kind of blocks the whole backyard, which is a beautiful black backyard. And the kitchen of the home is on the left side of the home. So we're trying to create some kind of living space that can view the pool in the backyard and have access to the backyard, because the garage is in the way and just the unique shape of the home and the way it's situated on the lot. The addition is a stone porch and roof covered porch and roof. Where it comes into the setback is approximately 13 or 14 feet tall. So, and it's a very shallow porch roof that, is aesthetically pleasing. So there's a very de minimis amount of height, and it's an open air porch with no screen. So that helps in keeping it as a soft, good looking piece of architecture on the left side of the home towards the neighbor.
Would it be fair to say that this is a uniquely shaped lot?
Yes.
You don't see too many of them
No.
like this. And would it be fair to say if the left property line just went straight back, we wouldn't really have to be here?
No, we would not.
Okay. And are you aware of any reason that a variance would be required for the paver patio?
No, my understanding is that the paver patio in the rear is not part of impervious, and I'm not sure on the exact distance from the property line it can be, but I know we're a few feet away from the property line with the patio. So, and I didn't think Mr. DeGennaro had an issue with it. Okay.
So we actually got some feedback from Mr. DeGennaro.
Okay.
And what he came up with was he corrected what I had mentioned before. The reason being the pavers are tied directly to the pool. So essentially it's an extension of acting as accessory.
Okay,
So if the pavers are not continuous all the way around, so in looking at this, it starts at the proposed covered porch and runs across the back. You have the proposed outdoor kitchen and then runs up that right-hand side contiguous to the pool.
correct.
So what he's saying is because it is right adjacent to the pool, then it does count. And it would have to be 15 feet off the property line.
Okay,
So I guess you can have some discussion. One way, I guess, around that is to break the pavers between the pool where it goes to the kitchen area and wraps around towards the rest of it. And then my understanding is you would not fall into that category.
okay, I mean, that's what we would do. then, I
Yeah, we
think.
would sever it. I have the applicants here. We would sever it so that it's not part of the pool. And we don't have to respect the 15-foot buffer.
Okay,
Setback rather, not buffer.
the setback, yep.
My only comment for you is how do you get from that patio to the pool patio then?
There's
Right.
to the right of the two, the outdoor pit, the two septic pits, there's a stair with a piece of walkway that comes down next to the fireplace that goes onto that patio. So we'd separate the two patios so they could have a barbecue maybe, or something out right off the kitchen or table and chairs. And then you can go down if you look at the plan on next to the existing garage door, the rear garage door, it says first floor plan behind the fireplace in the outdoor bathroom.
Yes.
There's a set of stairs there because we had to split the patio to miss the existing septic tanks.
Perfect. But again, I think the way the rule reads, well, I guess it would be more so that it would be considered accessory structure if it's attached to the pool. But I guess since it's attached to the house, it doesn't apply the 15-foot. It gets a little gray for me. I really don't know if I follow that all the time, right?
Yeah, I think that's a technicality. When you walk out the back, if you have a 1 foot gap in between, it makes all the difference in the world. But it's the difference between a significant variance into that side yard setback versus a way to eliminate that completely, where you're just up against the proposed covered porch.
Yep.
Or covered patio.
David, what's your read on it?
That's correct. I know we've had a lot of discussions about this, but breaking that up like that, it's not considered accessory to the pool, and thus the setback, they get around that setback issue. I know it's kind of an oddity in our resolution, but it is correct. And if they do that, they're not going to need that setback variance, or they're not running into a problem here where we have to push it back.
The applicant so moves to amend the application accordingly.
Okay. All right, so I will make a couple of comments. This is a unique lot. It's rare that we come across lots that have a jog in them halfway down. And then just the way the house itself sits. My understanding is, and we've all seen this home, it went under construction a couple of years ago. My understanding is they kept the existing structure in place and it is skewed to the lot. So that is also what's creating the hardship. If it was square to the lot itself, I'd imagine you might not be in this situation as well. So listen, I do agree that that is a hardship that the board can consider. And again, the jog in, you lose several feet on that left-hand side as well. And that's the side you're proposing. And looking at it option-wise, you push it off to the right-hand side, you're in the driveway. So I don't think that's necessarily an option. So the question really becomes, okay, benefit versus detriment for having a covered patio, which we are seeing plenty of these days, in the outdoor kitchen. just to be clear, the pool is outside the setbacks. That really doesn't come into play. You've eliminated the pavers since you're going to put a break line there. So we are down to, you're building a small addition off the back, which is outside the setback, if I'm looking at that correctly. And we're down to the covered patio that's into play at 16.2 feet.
Correct.
That's right.
Yes.
Is there an existing deck where the covered porch is going, or is that all brand new?
No, there's just a little step there, and we've tried to work something out, trying to meet the setback, but it creates such a small and unique porch or patio that you can't see the pool, and for safety with kid, you want to be able to sit out there and look back at the pool and make sure everything's, visible. You don't want to. It's hard to get a view of the backyard from the existing house. If the windows in the back of the house now are beautiful, but they face the neighbor, they face in the wrong direction, for such a beautiful backyard.
I get it. I was just curious if there was an existing site plan that showed the existing layout. I see on your plan, I guess the hatch marks show the existing layout of the home, but the deck, I was wondering if there was one there now or not. So obviously you answered that question. Thank you.
So that second picture, Mr. Brown, I know these photocopy pictures are not the best, but the second picture where the hammock is, that's where this proposed patio is going to be, correct?
I'm sorry, Mr.
1 second.
I don't have the pictures in front of me.
Hold on 1 second.
But
Bear with
the
us.
hammock where the, Yeah. I think move this here.
It looks like there's a white vinyl fence there.
Correct. It's already, the area is fenced in, right? Yeah.
Is that this applicant's fence, or is that the neighbor's fence?
That's the applicant's fence.
And am I right to say and assume that the patio is going to go right up to that fence?
I mean, not right up to, we'd like to keep some space for plantings in front of it.
Right. So there's that little deck on the left. I'll call it a deck. Looks like there's a grill on it. That's where we're going to put this proposed addition with the exposed covered porch.
Correct. That deck is within the setback, and then those steps, it continues out. And then we purposely made a 45, which makes the roof have a hip in it, which looks aesthetically pleasing, but it also serves us to, not have a corner there that sticks out further into the side yard setback. So we purposely clipped the edge of that porch, one for aesthetics, but also two, not to wind up with only 9 feet or something from the side yard setback.
What are we going to see in that area around the septic tank access? What is that going to be? What material?
That area is going to be plantings. It's grass now. We're going to plant that with different types of plants and let it, just grasses and flowers and things like that. Hopefully something large enough that'll hide the tank covers.
Because that's not shown. You did provide a landscape plan, L1.
Yes.
So I think the question was asked, are the pavers going to go right up to the property line on,
if you could see that we provided a landscape, we have a landscape plan showing some shrubbery. We actually, on the landscape plan, the paver area is cut back even more so that we can show, I can't read what the landscape architect had planned, what type of plants they are, but you can see that there's a hedgerow along the left side on the Edward Clark landscape plan.
They have proposed green giant arborvitae along there. So I mean, that bed on the landscape plan looks like it's about 5 feet wide. On the site plan, it looks like it's at the narrowest about a foot. So I guess.
Right.
We propose to follow the arborvitae, so it's going to be we'll put a 5 foot bed along that side of the property line.
So really, it's not even going to be a patio to that left side, what I'll say, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna break it now at the end of the tanks there, so it'll be just a small area, maybe a table and chairs could be out there for when to get out from under the covered porch, and then you'll have to go around the other side to go down to the outdoor kitchen and the pool. But at least from the covered porch, you'll be able to sit there, keep an eye on things going on in the pool and see the backyard, which you can't do right now.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
I just want to get for clarification, maybe to help. I was at the site. This last photo that was provided, it's got the hammock and the dog in it. Is the view from where the extension of this covered patio area is going to be? For a visual, that fence is a Whitefoot fence, and on the other side of the fence, for those who weren't there, these are at least 12 to 15-foot evergreens, and you can't even see the neighboring house from that point. And that picture kind of depicts it. I just wanted to point that out for people who didn't. If my reading of your diagram is correct and looking at this picture, I just wanted to.
Yes, and where the hammock is where we're proposing the arborvitae's on our side with which we'll say we'll put the 5-foot bed in there along that fence line. So we're gonna get a double, we'll have the evergreens on the neighbor's property, plus the fence, plus the arborvitae's on our side.
So if the landscape plan is actually to scale, then the area to the left of the septic is going to be 7.5 feet wide. I'm just, because it almost scales where that buffer, like Mr. Bohr said, where the bed is scaled to about 5 feet. So it looks right.
On my plan, we have 15 feet from the property line to the inside edge of the pavers. If we do a 5-foot bed, that patio area will be about 10 feet wide.
Oh, yeah?
I'm just scaling, mine is 1 inch equals 20. And if you look at that 16-foot dimension where the steps come down, take off 5, that'll be 11. If you go a little further out, I mean, it's going to be, yeah, like where it curves around the edge of the tank, but that's where we're going to cut it off now. It'll be around 9 feet of paver area.
Okay, I'm only asking the question, is that something that's needed, or they're really going to use that space? Because you do have a lot of other proposed patio space that certainly gets you out from underneath the porch or covered patio, excuse me,
Yeah.
to have a table.
Yeah, just keep in mind that the way this house flows, to get out, you have to get out where that existing little deck is. So they need some little convenience area outside, maybe for, say they have a lot of our clients have a full barbecue like we're doing outside, outdoor kitchen, but we still have a small barbecue, like we can't have it under the porch because that's not allowed. But a small, you need some little space just off the porch, the porch that's as close to the kitchen as possible, I always say. And that's all we're looking for there is a couple steps down and a small 10 by 12, 10 by 10 area for patio that you could use right off the porch. Kind of like what they do now. Only because the outdoor kitchen's great, but the way the house is situated and the angle of the house, you can't even see it from the kitchen breakfast, or it's going to be a good, be great to use when the pool's there and you don't have to go back into the kitchen to get stuff, but it's not very convenient if it's just the family on a Tuesday night cooking a few burgers.
It appears to me, the way it's laid out, you might be better off, the likelihood of them using that wide staircase going to the pool is not going to be too often, I bet, right? wouldn't they be using the smaller entrance to the back patio?
Yeah, yes, but I see, Mark, I see kids sitting on that long step and hanging out, eating an ice cream, it's a covered porch. It's the.
Yeah. I was just going to the point that you might be better off just doing stepping stones through that area to bring it to the patio, and then you're free of that whole variance.
Right. That's a possibility. We put a couple stepping stones out where they're used to going out the other way off the deck, as you can see.
Yeah.
So we could do that there too, do stepping stones in that area too. That's I don't think that's a problem, even if it was a double wide set.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got the gap, so you're free of that variance.
Okay.
So what do you think of replacing patio on the left side of the septic that goes around with like paving blocks?
They would be like bluestone stepping stones, like 2x3s or something like that, maybe in a staggered pattern or something. Maybe when they come down the steps, they're a little wider, they're 6 feet, and then they narrow down around to the back to get to the main patio.
I see. Okay. All right, board, any questions about the addition itself? It looks like it's, they're putting an outdoor bathroom.
Yes.
Board, any questions on that?
Carl, I joined a little late due to IT issues. Did we talk about where's the septic field on this? We see the two covers, but where's the field?
The field is out all the way to the right. You'll see it says existing septic. There's a tank out there, and then there's a field behind it. So they did that right. They put the field way in the back right side.
Don't we have to be 10 feet from a foundation with the tank?
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with.
The tanks need to be 15 feet from a basement, 10 feet from a crawl space, 5 feet from a slab on grade.
It looks like on your drawings, though, your foundation wall, because it looks like this porch has foundation walls or the footings that go down are going to be right on top of the tank.
We put a ring on there for the 5 feet. That's a patio, so you can't. That's the distance we've normally done for a tank from a concrete patio. But if we find when we excavate we have to move that tank over, we will.
So what do you think? The hatch, I see a hatched ring around that. Is that where you're calling the 5 feet?
Right now, that's the 5 feet, yes.
Do you know the size of those tanks so we can figure out the circumference maybe?
We haven't opened one of those tanks, but I'll gladly say that again, if the tank is too close to the foundation, we'll move the one tank. We're doing excavation work anyway, so to move a tank is to use the same tank. Typically the tank's about 5 feet in diameter, 4.5 feet in the diameter. We only have the cover, so we don't know the exact. It's two tanks, so one could stay, one might have to kick out just enough to miss the foundation if we have to.
Yeah, I'm confused, but that's a building department item. I'm shocked that you can have that foundation to that patio so close to that septic tank.
As for a patio, it's like I said, it's 15 feet for a basement, 10 for a crawl space, 5 for a slab on grade for a house, not for a porch.
Eric, the only thing we got to remember is that these are solid tanks. They're not perforated tanks. So the liquids and solids go in there, and then the liquids go out to the leach field. So there is nothing percolating out of these tanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious as to just, I hate doing these additions into the setbacks. Like, to be honest, Mr. Brown, you're not going to be able to practically see the pool from the patio, let's be honest. Yeah, there's not going to be a very close line of sight. And
Well,
I don't know why they didn't wrap, well, I don't like, it just doesn't fit there. I don't know why they just didn't wrap the patio around the back of the garage. They
It's
really wanted to put a covered patio to it where the kitchen is. I just hate us going into this side yard setback. And I believe on the other side of that fence and on the other side of those evergreens is the neighbor's pool. And here we're putting, a patio 16 feet off the property line.
just keep in mind the door to the kitchen is a part of the existing house. There's a family room in the back, and the door to the kitchen is all the way at the far end of that little deck. So to try to go from the kitchen all the way to that back behind the garage, and there is, if you put a straight edge on the outdoor, you can, sitting on that patio, if you put a straight edge where the fireplace is, from sitting on that patio, you can see the complete pool, the whole pool, 100% of it. The line of sight from the patio, from the corner of the porch up by the kitchen, going past the edge of the fireplace, actually hits the right edge of the coping, and that we purposely did that, so that from that porch you can see the whole pool.
Yeah, but don't forget, you're going to put up a 4-foot outdoor kitchen out there too in the middle of the patio.
But that's behind the line of sight. When I mean, I can draw a line on, I can draw a line on my drawing here and kind of show it to you.
That's not going to work.
I mean, yeah, well, I mean,
I'm curious, one of the photos you submitted is the one where you can see the dog.
yeah,
Is that the view that you're talking about from the patio?
I saw a dog. Hang on. Yes, the pool is right to the right of those evergreens. Yes.
But is this the view that you would be seeing from that new porch?
Yeah, just about.
More than that.
You can see the whole backyard. It's cut off to the right, but yes,
Okay.
because you can see that little circular fire pit in another drawing that's kind of like, right. Actually, the fire pit is to the right about where the porch is going to go.
Mhm.
And you can see that. So that fire pit is what you're sitting on, that little round ring of stones, and the dog to the left.
Uh-huh.
So you're looking out at the backyard from there. Exactly.
Okay.
The photo isn't taking the right side into account, but it's cut off. But that's exactly the pool would be sitting right out there.
Where is the kitchen located? I mean, I see the French doors going out to the side yard from the living room. Where's
the door? We don't show it in the plan, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's where you see where that dimension, the 16.4 is.
Yes.
There's a door here in the kitchen, right?
No.
No, so you have to go, you got to go through the kitchen, you leave the kitchen and you come out that pair of French doors in the living room or family room. There's no door in the kitchen. So to go from the kitchen to this outdoor porch, you walk through the family room, which is we have listed as living room, go out that double French door and onto the porch. So the unique shape of the house and the location of the kitchen is one of our major problems.
I may have missed it, but is the pool equipment located anywhere on the plan? Or where is the applicant proposing to locate the pool equipment?
No, we didn't, maybe the landscape architect put that on. We wanted to show the pool, but we didn't. Just seeing if the landscape architect put the pool. the equipment on.
I mean, he's got a square box to the left of the pool along the side yard by the one Norway spruce you're putting in, but nothing's labeled.
Right.
Well, also looks like there's a retaining wall there. Is that correct?
I don't think so. I would say no, it shouldn't be. I don't know why the property is dead flat, so I don't know why we would need a retaining wall there.
Yeah, I don't know what, I mean, the plan is not labeled that well, but
Gladly testify though, the pool equipment will go in a location that meets all zoning requirements. I would say probably to the back side of the pool, inside the 15-foot accessory side yard, Why would you want to put it close to the house when you could put it further away from the house? And the backyard's, the yard's so big. So I would say it would be on the south, what's that, west corner of the pool out there towards the back. Well, within the setback lines.
So that box actually looks like it's just a catch for stormwater perhaps, because it's tied to your existing seepage pit.
what I saw.
But it looks like it's showing existing 6-inch PVC going right through the pool.
Yeah, I don't have that. Oh yeah, maybe that was there and just going to need to be rerouted again. That we took that off of someone's plan, but again, we didn't fully engineer the pool because we're trying to get the porch done first before we even think about doing the pool. But we wanted to show the board the pool and the patio so they knew what was trying to be achieved on the property.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to have that. I know the pool wasn't really mentioned in the synopsis because I guess everything associated with that at the time was conforming. But now we're starting to see everything that's going to happen or as proposed in the patio. We know you're going to break that up, maybe put some flagstones around to eliminate that, the other variance. Otherwise, that would have been like a showstopper because you're only 5 feet off. So you've broken that up. But we would definitely have to see pool equipment located someplace on here as well, just so it is memorialized, because we don't know. I'm assuming that that's what that is, an outlet. And I'm assuming it might have to go away if it's coming right through the pool. So that'll have to be cleaned up.
Okay, we can gladly show the pool equipment location.
So that aside, it sounds like the sticking point is the need to come off that corner of the house with a rather large, how many square feet is that going to be covered?
From the front face of the fireplace, keep in mind there's a mudroom that blocks that area too. So it's 22 feet, but it's not a full 22 feet because we've cut the corner off by
Oh no, you've got it, 624 square feet.
yeah,
It's on
exactly.
A2.
Thank you.
Yep.
But that's including the catwalks and the other area, around the corner where that deck is also. So the usable area, I would say, in front of that fireplace is like 18 by 17, which is what we try to make for an outdoor seating area with a couch and a coffee table, maybe a table and chairs for 4 people under it for the kids to eat lunch, and a TV over the fireplace or something,
Bill and Mr. Brown, I hate to say it, but I really feel like we're designing this entire covered porch around these 4 existing windows and these 2 existing doors. And, the hell with the setbacks, because I feel like we could have easily lost the 4 windows going out the back of the house, put in a set of French doors, and built this patio going straight towards the back, and not even have to encroach onto the side.
Well, I still have to encroach on the side further back, and the tanks are in the way. there's an existing bathroom mudroom in there that I can't get out of in that right corner. And then there's the garage with the rear door to the garage. So the tanks, the way the setback line runs, you can see it run through my plan that if I try to come out, if I came out straight off the back of the family room, it would be an 11-foot porch out to that setback. It's only 11 feet from the corner of the living room / family room to the corner of the setback, 12 feet. I'm sorry. I'm using a scale right now. And then across to that mudroom is only 15 feet. So you'd wind up, if you were doing a square, it'd be 11 by 15 because we have the tanks that are inflicting. And as we get further towards the rear, that setback even gets worse. It goes almost right up to the outdoor kitchen.
Setback gets worse.
Look at how the setback curves back the other way going towards the garage. The setback at the point of from the corner of the garage to the setback line is only at the corner, is only 10 feet. It's worse there. We only have 10 foot between the side setback line and the back left corner of the garage.
Yeah, I see you. All right.
Yeah, so yeah, it's actually it causes us more problems back there. We looked at putting a room behind the garage, but then you can't even get to it. If we put like a 17 by 25 foot room on the back side of the garage, that was our first intention, but it would be completely isolated from the house.
All right.
We try to look as many possibilities, taking into account the use of the house from the kitchen, the shape of the lot, the configuration of the lot,
So I'm going to follow up Mr. Rubenacker. Again, I think everyone's concern is that 16-foot setback. And I'm looking at the rear elevations on A1 and the left elevations, and it looks like, Mr. Brown, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're showing two different roof pitches on that? So you're showing an 11-12 and an 8-12?
There's 11-12, and yes, because it goes back at an angle on a 45, yes.
Understandable. So have you guys put any thought into maybe making it all an 11-12 and shrinking that side, the roof line that is above those side kitchen doors, in a little bit, and maybe giving us another 2 feet, keeping the same roof pitch? It won't line up with that existing side of the house, but I think you could at least get another 2 feet out of that, and then the roof lines would at least be the same pitch. It's just going to make that little walkway shorter, but you still have a big 17 by 18 foot area, and then that probably could give us another 2.5 feet, if somewhere around there, I'd guess.
Talking about cutting this in a little. Change it. Where you're talking about where we have the 7-foot walkway out the doors on the side that are only access, changing that to 5 feet.
Correct.
So,
or less.
Yeah, well, anything less than 5, with French doors, you can hardly get it. It's very, it's not very, again.
Put sliders in.
Well, they open in interior, not exterior, so you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. It's not gonna,
It doesn't tie into that side of the house, the building.
I mean, it's still, once we cut that back, that corner at a 45 is still gonna be, it might cut it back to 15 feet because it's at because that dimension to the property line's an angle. It's not gonna give us a full 2 feet back from the, everything's not parallel. So moving that back 2 feet is not gonna give us a true it's not gonna make the 16, 18.
You'll have less square footage in the setback then by doing such.
Yeah.
Right. Those French, I don't know. I don't know the layout that well, but it seems like those French doors are in an odd spot, right? It would almost make more sense to put them where all the double windows are in the back and eliminate that whole side porch and get most of it out of that setback. right? I'm not asking you to do that, but I think Mr. Tanis's comment of shrinking that over there, it's useless area. It's a walkway is all it is, right? You're not going to put anything over there.
And that's the area that we're worried about.
Yeah,
My question is, do you even need that?
I agree. Exactly what I was.
Couldn't you just break that free? You have the double doors that go out to a separate area, and then you really pull the covered porch area back. And I think you could probably get to 20 feet.
I don't, it's a function of what happens with the porch. You can see the line going through the center of the porch in the back. It doesn't really, I see what you're saying. It reduces the amount in the setback in that back half piece. But the first, all the way to the corner of the house, we're not even in the setback. We're not with any of that area we're talking about right now outside those doors is not in the setback. That's conforming. It doesn't become a problem with the setback until after the back where those glass doors are and the crazy setback line curves in. So they could go back and build that area. They're way under the lot coverage. They're under building coverage. Where we're asking for the setback is in the area behind that window line of the family room. It's the crazy shape of this piece of the lot at this point that causes all these problems.
Yeah, no, I understand.
The deck that's there is existing, is conforming.
So I would be more prone to accepting this patio, I'm sorry, this covered porch, if we lost the patio going up against the fence line. I know you said it would be a 5 foot,
Get rid of the patio.
5 foot bed. It's just, I look at, from looking at the,
If it's that side you're worried
the satellite view, the neighbor's pool is literally on the other side of that fence.
Mr. Rubenacker, the applicant said, fine, he'll throw that in.
All right, and that's just me.
Yeah, if
If
that makes it happen, he'll throw it in.
Because I don't think you're gonna use that
Well-
piece of patio now.
Mr. Rubenacker, the reason they want the shape of this porch is for the upstairs deck, right? And no one's really talked about that yet. So if you're coming out of the master bedroom, there's a whole deck up there.
Yeah.
And so if we start shrinking this lower level, that shrinks the upper level. So I'm assuming no one's talked about that yet, but that's, I'm assuming the major reason.
And we purposely made the deck within all the setback lines and only put roof over within the setback purposely so that railings, anything like that is back 20 feet. And the reason for that deck is one, the expansion of the closet, which is conforming, but also so that from the master suite, you can also see the pool and the kids in the pool and stuff like that too.
All right, so now we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of this. So that is 15 feet. I'm looking at A2.
Yes, correct.
You said the railing is back 20 feet?
The railing is back 20 feet, yes.
Setback.
Okay.
From the edge of the porch, the railing is back, hang on, I'll tell you exactly. It could be more than that. We're 8 feet back, so 16, we're 20, the railing is 24 feet back. Could be a slightly more because it's at a 45. I can draw.
I mean, the one way around this whole variance is instead of doing a 45, is that we could come out with this porch and do an inside 90-degree angle and get you right out of the whole setback.
It just, the room becomes, it's the strangest looking architecture. If I follow the setback line at the.
Yeah.
I tried that. It looks really strange and it
Okay.
really makes, all it does, it makes the room half useless. You can't even get a couch and a coffee table and stuff out there.
Well, where the return is, where the French doors are, what if you carried that line straight back? So keep it right in line with that wall, and it goes out and marry up sort of on the corner of where the septic tank is. That gives you a squared off area.
If I, like I said before, if I go straight back from the line that the French doors are in, the porch is only 12 feet deep going front to back. There's only 12 feet in a straight line from that corner next to the windows out parallel to where it says 624 out to the setback line just before the steps.
I hear what you're saying, but it sounds like the board's pretty hung up on the fact that you're trying to go to 16.2 with this, and then there's going to be an upper balcony, which is a dance floor. It's huge.
It's 15 by 13.
That's pretty large for a balcony.
They wanted 2 lounge chairs out there.
I get it, but now listen, this is where I start to get a little more hung up.
Okay.
I'm challenged because I do see the hardship, and it absolutely is impacting what you're proposing to do because of the job. I am completely understanding of that. I'm more hung up with the fact that we're getting closer. It's now pointed right towards the neighbor's property. And then you're going to have a big balcony up on top of that, which granted, I understand there's a ton of screening and you're proposing more screening, but that's where I kind of have a concern. I don't know that that area has to be bigger. So that's why I was thinking, shrink that whole area up. And this is, I think, going to be a little give and take. Because it's a pretty large area that you're looking to get back there. And there's already been a lot of work on this house. And the board shouldn't have to suffer and try to figure all this out because whoever did the last construction decided, you know what, I'm going to leave it as is and leave the house completely skewed to the lot. They could have done it parallel to the lot. We wouldn't be having the conversation.
Correct, yeah.
So now the board is trying to figure out, well, wait a minute, we've got a problem. And due to the mass of this house, we're not struggling with getting it to 20 feet. You have to get it to 25 feet.
Right, but I can, if the board wants, I could make sure that that whole deck is within, without, not in the 25 feet. That's not a problem. That would move the railing to the left over 1 foot.
You're talking the upper balcony.
Yeah, I could put that all within, I can make sure that all falls within the setbacks, not a problem.
I'm more trying to figure out, can you get that closest point to 20 feet rather than 16.2? That's kind of where I am right now. 25, listen, that's a major challenge. And I think the hardship comes into play, plus with the enhanced side yard setback, which we always struggle with. We understand it, but it does create other challenges. To get to 25 feet, you know what, with the hardship and the setback and the lot being irregular, you know what, I could probably live with that.
The issue with that, I just sketched the 4 feet additional into that setback line, and the porch becomes 15 by not even 14 because it cuts the right corner off it again. The setback line at another 4 feet back goes right through the named stone covered porch 624. So that's where the corner of the porch would have to be to make it a 20-foot setback. I don't know if the board, I'll put this up, maybe the board can see it. But I drew a line 4 feet further back, and it basically runs right through the stone covered porch, and it makes it almost unusable.
Mr. Brown, the thing that's confusing to me is the cover page shows the setback line. And then when I go to A2 and I look at the setback line, they're in 2 different spots. I mean, they're not like the one on the cover page shows the setback to the house closer than what your blow up of A2 does. Like it seems the setback line just seems skewed on both.
The point is behind the one there.
Right, like for instance, your existing porch on A2, the existing staircase and the little raised porch you have is inside of the setback by quite a bit. And then if you look at your cover page, the actual steps are touching the setback line now. I don't know if you follow, I just,
Yeah, I think the, I'd have to check that, but I know the site plan is accurate. I had them put this line on.
so the A2, the setback is even further in than what's shown on the plan.
The A2, the site plan of A2 is
Your blow up.
the site plan setback line is in further than the line on the quarter-inch plan, the architectural plan.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So which one is correct?
Well, the site plan I know is correct, so I would assume that the line on the floor
On
plan-
A2, the line is actually closer towards the existing deck than what it's shown.
Yeah, well, it's not running through the tank, and it runs right through the tank on the site plan. So you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So meaning that this setback line has to slide in even further from what we're talking about ever so slightly. But that the reason why we went off for the variance, we went off the property survey. We were just trying to accentuate. I'd have to check why that line shifted, whatever.
Yeah, it almost looks like that line is 4 feet further away from the house than it should be.
Almost. So which if I put it another 4 feet, it'd run right through the corner. Well, I can do that. I have the site plan here, which is what I'm working off of. And yeah, the setback line, the 25-foot setback line is 4 feet off the corner of the family room, living room.
Yeah, the plan we have probably looks like it's like 8, right?
I'm talking about the survey. You know, look at sheet.
Cover sheet.
Yeah, the site plan with our zoning and our setbacks.
Yep.
So, and that's been our struggle all along. I mean, one that we have the powder room and bathroom in that one corner. The garage has no access. There's no way to get to the back of the house, the back property through the garage, and the main focus of the house faces, again, those tanks. And I think as Mr. Cook had said, if the house was square to the property lines, we wouldn't be here. The whole house would fit. The outdoor porch would fit, and it would be facing the pool, and there'd be no problems.
So correct me if I'm wrong, if you were to stop to not do this addition the way you have it proposed and do a pavilion at grade level as an accessory, you only need to be 15 feet off the property line then.
Correct.
Maybe that's an avenue you've got to think about. You could do an outside fireplace within the pavilion.
But I can't, how far from the house can it be? How far off the house can I be with that?
I think as long as there's an air gap, that's all you need.
Yeah, I think as long as it's not touching, then it's considered accessory.
Well, okay.
I mean, we've done pavilions where they're only 2 feet off the house. You know, it's considered an accessory then. I mean, it's just a thought. I know you're trying to cover, create a covered porch with a fireplace and an entertaining area, but it just seems like trying to put a square peg in a round hole, right? So if we take that idea and push it out behind the garage somehow and push the whole pool towards the backyard, you got plenty of footage to go. I mean, you got 53 feet from the pool now, where what's the backyard required? You got, almost 33 feet to play with back there to push the pool back.
Yeah, no, the pool, I mean, the pool further from the house, of course, they don't want it that far away, but the pool isn't, the pool can go anywhere. We're not asking for a variance for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking if you got a pavilion behind the garage.
Well, we wouldn't need we could attach that to the house. That the problem with that is you can't get to it from the house. For kids.
You could actually scale back the covered porch, leave that whole area covered, be outside the setback, and marry up right to it.
Correct.
So you're saying to take the the porch I have now, move it a foot away from the house and build it as a pavilion? And keep it 15 feet from the side yard line?
And I mean, that's an option, right? I mean, I'm not sure how that would look extended. I was thinking more pushing the pavilion idea behind.
And I could do that on the side too and build it out to the 15-foot line where I have the 31.9 existing, where those proposed stepping stones are.
I think at that point, we've just created something they could go a foot closer.
No, but I'm saying now outside the family room, those French doors, I could go all the way, I could make that whole thing 20 feet deep. Where the proposed stepping stones are, I could add a whole porch there and just keep it a foot away from the house.
Aesthetics are a basis for granting a variance. It's a benefit that outweighs a detriment. To come up with a technicality so you don't need a variance that's not aesthetically pleasing is really contrary to the Land Use Act.
Well, I think at that point, we're also kind of defeating what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because you're just doing it in a different manner as a technicality, but
And it's less aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, and it's less aesthetically pleasing.
So
I think what I had an issue with the reason I'm suggesting it becomes a one-story item, right? So right now we're building a double-story patio. We're building a patio down below that's going into the setback, and now we have a patio up above that people are going to be, towering. I don't want to use the word towering. It's not towering, but we're going to have people above on a second level looking down onto the neighbors, right? And we're 15 feet off the property line. Excuse me, 16 feet off the property line. I mean, that's the only thing I was suggesting. It was just an idea. I wasn't thinking the pavilion on the side. I was thinking the pavilion in the rear of the yard, so that wasn't even the thought process.
Mark, there is an existing deck up there now.
Got it.
So it's not like, there's not a deck there now. We were just moving it out a little further because of the new walk-in closet. And
I mean, the plans don't show this. That's why I'm getting a little confused by the whole thing, because the plans are not showing what's existing, what's not existing, right?
well, you can't. Yes, they are. If you look on the second floor, it shows the existing doors coming out as enclosed, and then you see the hatched lines. So there's a pair of doors there that come out onto the porch where we added a new dressing area and new walk-in closet, and so where it says existing master sitting room, there's a pair of French doors that come out onto a porch there that is now becoming dressing area, and it says new walk-in closet.
All right, for the sake of kind of moving this thing forward, I think we've probably designed this 5 or 6 different ways at this point. I do believe we have somebody, Mr. Nobile, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. We did have somebody, I think, that wants to speak on behalf of this application. So why don't we take a minute? I'll open it up to the public. Mr. Nobile, if you're on standby there and you can hear us, now's your opportunity to make comments on the application.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I just was.
Let me swear you in, please.
I'm sorry?
I need to swear you in. If you could raise your right hand, please.
Sure.
You swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And if you could state your name, spelling your last name for the record, and giving us your address.
Sure. Name's Greg Nobile, Nobile. I live on 493 Booth Court.
Thank you.
No, my only concern was just to hear what was going to be built or suggested to be built. And then now hearing possibly about a second floor is a little concerning, depending if it looks down into the backyard. So it's my first time hearing about this, so I'm just listening in and trying to see what the next steps would be. If everything's according to code, and by all means, they could do what they want. But I'm just curious to hear what potentially was going to get built.
Okay. All right, so yeah, we've kind of gone all over the place, but it's a proposed covered porch off the back, and then above that is an expansion to the master bedroom, and then they're proposing to expand an open air deck, second floor off of the master bedroom. So, Mr. Brown, I think you kind of have an understanding. I personally, I would be opposed to separating, building a pavilion and putting it on the left-hand side of the house. And I don't think that's what Mr. Boris is looking to do. I don't know that accomplishes what we really want to accomplish. If you were to put it behind the garage, different story. Have at it. You don't even have to see us. But as far as the proposed covered porch, me personally speaking, I think you have to get that to at least 20 feet. And I could probably live with that where you're supposed to be 25 feet, but the hardship is in the way this house is laid out. And we've seen these before us as well. And we've heard the same thing. We want a sitting area so we can see the pool. Well, unfortunately, they bought a house that's skewed. They bought an irregular lot. We are certainly sympathetic and we're willing to work certain things out, I think. However, to go to the extreme that they want, I get even with the hardship, I don't see that the board can move forward with it. So I know we do have kind of a busy agenda. We have a couple more of applications we do want to get through. And I don't know that you're going to be able to sum this up tonight so the board can actually see what you're looking to propose.
It doesn't even need a variance.
No, you still need variance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because.
I think
5 feet
we'd
are required.
like to come back with a revised drawing next month.
Right next to
Okay.
it.
They only meet once a month.
All right, I think that's probably a good idea. So we just want to be clear, 20 feet, and board members, please, by all means, if you're completely hung up on it, by all means, let's have the discussion about it. If you really don't think that you can understand the hardship and how it applies, or you see that it doesn't apply, by all means, this is just my perspective on it and what I think is probably more acceptable.
Yeah, Carl, I do agree with you, and I do also support what Mr. Brown stated in that the railing for that second floor patio, what do we even call it, a second floor porch? I think that railing should be at the 25-foot point as well across the board.
Okay.
We absolutely have to shrink that down. That concerns me, and it would concern me as a neighbor. You can have a full-blown party out there on the second floor. And if I'm a neighbor, I'm not going to be happy about it. So the fact that that's almost 15 by 15, to me, that's concerning. So that I would want scaled back, and I don't know off the top of my head what that would come to get to the 25 feet. Would you be bringing that in? How many feet? 4 feet?
To get it within the 25, 16 plus, the roof is 8 feet back now, so I'm at 24. I'd have to go back 1 foot to get to 25.
Jeez. Listen, once you're beyond the 25 feet, it's tough for us to really say. I don't know how much more we could get than that. I would want you to try to shrink that down as best you can.
All right,
And maybe you can work some magic when you change the roof lines there. You can do a different pitch and really pull it back further. You're a talented guy. We've seen your work before, so I'm sure you can figure it out.
Okay. I got
All right.
it.
Also, clean up the landscape plan. Make sure the landscape plan matches your site plan. Dimension it so we see what that bed is going to be. I'm happy to hear the bed's going to be wider, and you're going to have that screening in there because having the pavers right up to it was no good. Then the other thing I just want to be clear on, because I think we had two different discussions. What Mr. Boris had mentioned was because we have to break up the proposed patio around the pool where it wraps all the way around the septic tank back to the proposed porch, you're going to put flagstone material. Is that correct?
No, we said we were going to eliminate that patio completely on the left.
Eliminate it completely. Okay. So that'll just be grass.
Yes.
Okay. So just make sure that that's reflected. Identify the pool equipment, just so we can see where that's going to be.
Got that.
And any drainage that there might be, just make sure that that's okay, and just be prepared. Mr. DeGennaro will be with us hopefully for the next one. So just make sure you're bulletproof on your distances off of the septic tanks and anything structural like that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Board, anything else?
No.
No,
That was a quick one.
obviously for the applicant or anyone listening, the applicant does not need to renotice. They're carrying their application to the next month. And we'll hear them when they come with their revised plan.
And that date again, it's not the third Thursday, it's the fourth.
It's the 4th. The date actually is the 25th of February. So it gives you a little more time to get that revised plan in as well.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Carl, in case I get disconnected, I'm gonna try and connect with my computer. It's just very difficult for me to see it through the phone,
Okay,
but I'm gonna do it right this minute, okay?
okay.
Success. Thank you.
All right, great. Okay. Let's move on. All right, the next application is the Hildebrandt application, 371 Oakwood Drive.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to bring the clients in and bring Mr. Brown back in. He's consoling the prior applicant, so let me get him back in here.
Sorry to hear that.
Nikki, you're in for a real treat tonight with your maiden voyage. I hope you weren't planning on getting to bed early tonight.
Oh, no, I have all night.
Don't say that.
Listen,
Don't
I would
say
like,
that.
I would like to try to push forward so we can get through these. I know I usually do like a hard stop at 11. Let's see where we are. Mr. Cook, whatever you can
Okay.
do to try to forge ahead with these.
Sure.
You have this one
Surely.
and the next one too, right?
Oh, yes, that's correct. It's Mr. and Mrs. Hildebrandt. I have him here, have him there. I'm going to have them testify. So why don't I have them sworn in first? Mr. Brown will be in a minute.
Sure. If both of them can raise their right hands, please. You swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Do.
If you could state your name again for the record, spelling your last name.
John Hildebrandt, Hildebrandt.
Annette Hildebrandt, Hildebrandt.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Brown will be in a minute to go over the technical aspects of the application. Again, I had the benefit of watching the work session and what was said and the concerns the board has. There's really no changes within the footprint. What this is really adding a second floor to the detached garage. And one of the questions the board has is, why did we have to go to the height we did? And that goes to the use that's proposed up there. So Mr. Hildebrandt can testify why he really wants to do this and why he needs that height.
It's for home office use, obviously with everything that's happening with COVID, we need more room.
So he intends to install a home office there, not to sleep, not to reside, but to have an office there.
The home office, I'm sure the board will ask this. You're not seeing any clients, customers, or anything like that, or receiving anything, right?
Just working virtually.
Okay, we get that out of the way, then we know we're good. Okay.
No.
And I mean, that really is driving the height of why he needs it, because it's actually, he's going to conduct his business there, be walking around and so forth. So I'm going to pull Mr. Brown back in here and he can just address the technical aspects of the application.
Are there any utilities being proposed? Is there bathroom, sink, plumbing, sewage?
Nope,
Nothing being proposed?
nope.
So it's purely just an office?
Yep. I mean, HVAC will be, obviously be added. So
Yep.
the electrical service, I'm sure will have to be updated.
So no bathroom, no other plumbing?
Maybe a small sink, but nothing definite at this time.
And I heard the Mr. DeGenero's suggestions with the restrictive covenant that could not be used as living quarters and so forth. That's fine.
Okay.
And I have Mr. Brown aboard here. We could just address the technical aspects. He was sworn on the last application. He's still under oath. If you want to swear him again, it's up to you.
Mr. Becker?
Well, he's still under oath for the meeting, so we don't need to swear him in again, but.
I think we should hear his credentials just in case. Mr. Brown, in 10 words or less, can you tell us why you have to be at 21'7"?
Because of the headroom and not wanting a flat roof up there. And you know me with aesthetics, the two dormers on the front, it's very diminished, and I made the roof pretty steep so that architecturally it looks good. And if I cut 1.5 feet because of the pitch, it'll take a lot of headroom out of the second floor. And I like the two aesthetically, if the board looks at the two, I call them puppy dog dormers on the front. I think the balance of the porch and the height, you can see my 8-foot line for the ceiling running through above that transom window on the side. That there's not much of the roof, or what I would say attic, above that, above the 8-foot point. Matter of fact, you can see that on the dormer, the shed dormer out the back. I really would prefer not to go down below a 4-on-12. And so that's why I came up with the 21 versus the 20, because if I go to 20, then I got to lower the ceiling in the room, probably below 8 feet, and I got to lower that pitch on that shed dormer out the back, which everybody, not that we have a lot of snow and ice, though I would like some snow. That I would prefer to keep the pitch on that back shed dormer at 4-on-12. And purely the aesthetics on the front is.
And that's to maintain an 8-foot ceiling height?
Yeah, you can see I have the dotted ceiling height in there, 8 foot, and then the 10-inch joist dotted in. And you can see that's just above the double hung windows on the side. So from a standpoint of that on the end where the 8, other than the dormer, you can see that across the center, I've only have 7 feet of ceiling at where the peak is on the sides of the building, the left side and the right side. So if I take it down 1.5 feet, it's going to even reduce that more. And aesthetically, I like the 12-on-12 pitch, which from the street and the driveway, I think will look, with the architectural shingles, will look very nice.
I don't disagree with you. Board, any comments?
The only comment I'll add, Mr. Chairman, is I know it goes over the 20-foot setback requirement. Having been at the property, looked over, just to note, it's only going up a hair under 6 feet. I stood in the neighbor's backyard and deck and patio area. Didn't think that really an extra 6 feet is going to cause any invasiveness. And the design looks good. So I really did not have much of an issue with this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I echo what Mr. Calpagian just said. On the, I guess this is on the N portion of the application. It says 18 sets of landscape plan. I don't have a landscape plan in my package. I don't know if it's necessary to have a landscape plan, but I don't know if there was one submitted or not.
The photos.
Yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, there was a request for a waiver in my transmittal letter. I had indicated due to the fact that the application is limited to the detached garage and the side yard building setback that is deficient is well buffered, my client requests the requirement for a landscape plan be waived.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Again, I was not able to visit these sites this week. So, I mean, I'm from the pictures, it looks like it has plenty of landscape. I don't know if anybody else has any comments on that.
Those are waiver for the landscape plan, okay. Yeah, I don't know that that's a showstopper either. There is a lot of screening there to begin with. Obviously, anything that's damaged would have to be replaced in kind.
Yes, understood.
All right, good.
Sorry, Mr. Brown, how much of the original garage is staying during this construction? Are you keeping the full first floor walls and just going above that?
First floor walls are all staying, and then the roof will be rebuilt because it's going to be a larger pitch so anything from the deck up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is the proposed cupola a showstopper? Is that a must for the top of this garage?
I think that they requested it.
Because we have an existing one there already. We just wanted to keep the same as what we had previously.
Just asking. Okay. All right. So this is a pre-existing condition, non-conforming garage. It's encroaching on that right-hand side. They're building directly above it. No further expansion to the existing first floor, correct, of the garage? Right, this is just going straight up.
Straight up.
Yes.
You're keeping the existing foundation, walls, everything in the original garage. So for making it so that you can get an 8-foot ceiling height there and the pitch that you want, you're looking to go 1.7 feet above the maximum allowed. Okay, it doesn't sound like too many people have issues with it. Anything else, board? If not, I'll open it up to anyone from the public, which, Ms. Mitchell, I don't think there's anybody else out there, right?
Sorry, no, there are no other callers.
Okay, well, I'll open it up to the public just in case. And I'll close it to the public right now. Okay. All right, board. Anything else for Mr. Brown or Mr. Cook or Mrs. Hildebrandt? 1.7 feet above the 20, keeping everything else as is. It's going to be a home office, no bathroom, possibly a sink. That's it. Waiver for the landscape plan and the cupola because they want it and they have it.
It's charming.
And Mr. Chairman, the legal basis would be a flexible variance because it would be aesthetically pleasing with the greater pitch to the roof.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, is the board comfortable with this recommendation? I think Mr. Cook already said his client is with the language that Mr. DeGennaro has proposed for the restriction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Cook already mentioned that. Okay. All right, if there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion for 371 Oakwood Drive.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept 371 Oakwood Drive, block 250, lot 43, as submitted with the addition of the deed covenant to restrict the second floor of the garage as, non-residential and non-commercial use only. Did I say that right, Dave? I forget what the exact.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the language. I'm going to craft the language similar to what Mr. DeGennaro has here, just that will not The garage may not be permitted now or in the future to include full bathroom and kitchen and shall not be permitted to be used as a separate living quarters or apartment or business. But I can put in there exception for a sink if that's what the board so desires, and it will have a deed restriction to that effect.
Yeah, that's fine.
And should we add to replace any damaged landscape with like kind? For the,
The applicant's fine with that.
okay, add that and I'll second Mr. Rubenacker's motion.
Okay, and to replace any landscaping that would be damaged during construction in kind. Okay, motion by Mr. Rubenacker, second by Mr. Kalpagian. Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. Tanis,
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Yes.
Mr. Hubert,
Yes.
Ms. Liato,
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Yes.
Mr. Borst,
Yes.
Chairman Fry.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And
Good luck with construction, and
Good luck.
now you know you have a safe place to go from the house.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service to the community too. Thanks, guys.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Next application is Nickel, 123 Midland Ave. I think Mr. Brown's just going to put a different hat on and come back in.
Actually, Mr. Brown left me on my own on this one. He didn't prepare the plans. So
I think you're more than capable.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Nickel and I are going to struggle through it.
Okay.
So we'll have Mr. Nickel sworn. I have him to my right.
Nick, can you raise your right hand, please? You swear or affirm the testimony you give to him with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Again, just state your name, spelling your last name for the record.
John Nicol, Nicol.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I again had the privilege of hearing your comments during the work session. And number one, we will concede to Mr. DeGennaro's calculations versus what was submitted, so we will go with those. Again, this is similar to the prior application, other than also having an addition to the principal residential structure. As with the prior application, in my transmittal letter, I wrote requesting a waiver of the landscape plan due to the fact that the property was heavily buffered and the additions to the rear as well as the detached dwelling. I'm going to have Mr. Nickel address the use of the second floor, what the purpose is. And as you hear his testimony, again, it's a sign of the times as it's COVID related. So Mr. Nickel, why don't you tell the board why you want this second story addition to the garage?
A couple of things, two things. When my son's home from college, we don't have a basement, so it was a place for him to hang out and kind of give me and his mom a break, basically.
Okay. And what do you intend on putting up there?
A TV, a couch.
Did you tell me also billiard table?
No billiard
No
table.
billiard table.
No.
TV and a couch.
TV and a couch, yeah.
Okay. And you don't have a basement in your existing dwelling?
Well, I have somewhat a small, like 12 by 18 section, of the basement, but the rest crawl space, yeah.
And with respect to the garage, do you understand that if the board were to grant your application, it couldn't be used for a separate individual living quarters? It couldn't be an apartment?
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
Okay, you couldn't have a kitchen in there and
Yep.
so forth?
Yes,
And would you be agreeable to a restrictive covenant in a deed setting forth those conditions?
absolutely, yes, yep.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the addition to the main house?
Yeah,
So go ahead. I think let's tackle that first. I think that's probably minor in the grand scheme of things, but we might as well.
Okay. So, talk about the addition.
Tell the board about the addition, where it's going to be, why you want the
Yeah.
addition, how large it is.
The addition's just going on the back of the house, first floor, overlooking our pool. There's an existing deck there already. We just need some more, our living room's really small. I just need to make the living room a bit bigger. Also, the master bathroom is tiny upstairs, and you know, I need more room upstairs in the master bathroom.
So the proposed location for that is outside of both side yard setbacks, correct?
Yes. Yes, correct.
Okay. So it's a two-story addition, expansion of a living room, and then adding more space for a bathroom above.
Exactly, correct.
All right, board, any comments or questions on that? Okay. All right, let's get to the garage. So again, the concern is whenever we see this is shown, you've got a garage, cabana, bathroom, utility room, and now you're looking to do a lot. Is the bathroom in there now, or is that proposed?
Here's the thing, the cabana is existing.
Yep.
Utility room's existing. That's where all my pool equipment is. And the bathroom downstairs, there's no bathroom out there as of now. Hoping to have one put in so that when people come over and, you know, my kid uses the pool with his friends, they're not tripping upstairs in our house to take a shower.
All right, well, I think what we would have to do is put a restriction on that and call to maybe just a half bath.
That's okay. Yeah.
You'd be okay with that?
Well,
otherwise, this thing just like screams like it's another apartment.
Okay, but if you yeah, because it's the loft's going to be upstairs. Downstairs, the cabana's right on the pool, and I'm just tired of teenagers running up the stairs and showering upstairs. So if I can, as long as I can have a shower and a toilet, I'm happy.
Well, no, by making it a half bath, you'd have a toilet and a sink.
Yeah, I really want to put the shower in.
How about if you had a shower outside? Would that work?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know yeah.
You have the shower outside.
You're only using it when you're by the pool, so summertime, then you just shut it down in the wintertime. That keeps everybody even better if they're outside.
You can have a half bath on the inside.
Half bath on the inside.
Okay, if that's what it is, that's what it is. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So half bath, shower head outside. Is there any further expansion to the existing structure that's there?
No, it's all going to stay the way it is. Yeah, just building up.
So you're building up. So staircase inside, and then the half bath downstairs. All right, so we already kind of discussed earlier, this lot was subdivided, so it is non-conforming to begin with. 90 foot, can't do anything about that. 10.5 side yard. So again, we're at the 10.5 mark. So you're going up above, and your height is going to, what did I see, 19?
It's like 19 feet, 10 inches, something.
Yeah.
And again, as you can see by the plan, it has the pitched roof with the dog coops, which are aesthetically pleasing, which would be a flexible variance and a basis to grant it.
Okay. Why am I not seeing the height of the garage on the?
Left side, in between the rear and the left side elevation, the bottom of A4.
Yeah, it's 19.8.
19.8, yeah.
So 19.8.
That's correct. Yep.
Actually, I think it's 19 feet, 8 inches, Carl.
Yeah, I think you're right, because it's 19.7 on Mr. DeGennaro's. So 19 feet, 8 inches. Okay, so you're conforming. All right. Okay, so in this case, you're in an R15 zone, so you do exceed the gross building area. So technically that 10.5 is supposed to be 20. So that's really what the board is trying to consider here. All right. So you're building directly over the existing, and it's going to be within the height restriction. Okay. There's a lot of screening back there. This is kind of a unique area. I don't know that I personally have any major issues with it. I don't have any issues with the construction you're proposing on the house, so we think we can check that box. Board, are we all good with the construction on the house?
Yes.
With the construction on the house.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay. All right.
I do have a question though, Carl. How does the accessory structure go down?
Yeah, I think.
Are they changing like a patio or?
Mr. Cook, do you know that, is there a component that's being removed? Is there a shed or something that's coming out?
Yes,
There's a deck.
it's like a portion of a deck attached to it that's coming off. There's a
Oh, is
deck.
it part of the deck where the construction's going?
Yes.
Ah,
Okay, got it. Thank you.
thank you.
And again, if you look at the coverage, it's 15 and 5. The principal is well under by half. The accessory is double, but the two of them together are less than the 20% maximum. If you just allocate it differently.
Right. Yeah, with the additions and subtractions, it actually nets to like the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Yep, okay. All right, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Board, anything else?
You know what, I know, I had saw, in interest of time, I didn't say anything before, but I had caught the same thing Mr. Tanis caught with the discrepancy of the impervious coverage. It looks like on the section J, they counted, patio pavers and walkways and such that normally, I think Mark didn't count that in his calculation. When you back that out, it seems to go to what Mark put on his.
Correct. To the rear, they don't count them. And the architect had counted them, but because it's to the rear by the pool, it's not counted.
Yeah, I wanted to clean that up.
Yep. So I indicated we'll defer to Mr. DeGenero's calculations.
Okay, so 39.42, which would require a variance, is out. You're at 26.8, less than the 33.8, so you're conforming. Mr. Tanis, is that what you're going to say?
I had one more comment. Technically, since this garage faces the side, does this make another variance since it's not 27-foot setbacks?
That's a good question.
Because it's a shared driveway, so it's a rather unique property, and I don't think it really affects the application. It's not going to change anything for me, but just for our paperwork end of it and for the record, does that technically add another variance because we only have 11 feet from the garage facing side to the property line?
So let me see.
Short answer to that is yes. I mean, is that where?
The accessory structure says rear yard, side yard, they're both require a 10-foot minimum on the application.
Yeah, so then.
It really wouldn't matter.
Yeah, but if the garage faces the side, then it's supposed to be 27. Again,
I wonder if that's because if traditionally, if you're not sharing a driveway with somebody and you have a side-facing garage, you need the space to be able to back out and make a turn and come out.
Yeah, I think I think Mr. Kalpagian's right. That's why they have it in place. Whereas here,
But in this unique instance, they have,
right.
I think it's not, if I remember correctly, looking at the driveway, the shared driveway, there's plenty of room to make a K-turn and come out. So we might be in a unique wash there that this variance doesn't apply because of the shared driveway situation. Just think that,
Also because it's an accessory structure. Typically, when we see the 27, it's part of the principal structure, and it's so that they have room to turn around.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's it, because it's an accessory. It's not part of the principal structure. It's not attached.
All right, understood. Just wanted to clarify that and just didn't know if we had to fill it out a little bit differently because of it.
Yeah, no, good point.
But I have no issue with the garage as proposed or the other addition as proposed. I think it is a rather unique property. It's obviously, we very rarely see shared driveways in Wyckoff, so I think there's definitely some hardships with this one.
Yeah. Yep, agreed. All right, anybody else? All right, Ms. Mitchell, there's, just to confirm, there's no one from the public remaining on the line, correct?
Correct.
All right. I'll open it to the public and close it to the public. Okay. All right. Any last comments? Okay. I will entertain a motion for 123 Midland Ave.
Mr. Chairman, you want to say something, Eric? Or?
Yeah, prior to the motion, I guess, did we just, and I'm looking real quick, did we say what the new garage is going to have as far as siding goes? Is it going to be matched to the existing, match the house?
Very much the house is going to be hardy plank.
Okay, it looks like a white hardy plank?
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Sorry, Ed, go ahead.
That's okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the nickel application, block 302, lot 12.01, as proposed with the deed stipulations as proposed by Mr. DeGenero for the detached garage.
Okay, so half bath only inside, waiver for the landscape plan is accepted. Siding will be hardy plank to match the house.
And an outside shower.
Outside shower. Okay, and then the restrictions as Mr. Kalpagian mentioned, not to be used as a living space. Okay, all right, good. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rubenacker. Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. Tanis,
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Yes.
Mr. Hubert,
Yes.
Ms. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Yes.
Mr. Borst,
Yes.
Chairman Fry.
Yes.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good evening. I'll see you next month.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you. Be well.
Night.
Good luck with construction. Thank you.
Good night, Mr. Cook, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll forge ahead. We'll at least get into the next application and we'll see how far we get. Just again, for the record, I will be recusing myself on the next application, the Brower application. So that being said, Mr. Borst, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brower, do you have representation or are you representing yourself tonight?
Representing myself.
Okay, great. Mr. Becker, do you need to swear them in? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I'm going to swear you in. Are you both going to be testifying tonight?
I'll be testifying.
All right, if you can raise your right hand then, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Scott Brower, Brouwer.
Thank you.
All right, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you want to do and why you're before us tonight?
So first of all, I want to thank everyone for staying up so late and trying to see us all. So as you know, I put a variance in for accessory coverage for a pool. So since we moved to Wycloft, we always envisioned and dreamed about having a pool, even so much so that when we built our deck, or actually put an outdoor living space, we chose a deck because at the time, pavers were considered towards impervious coverage. So we decided to go with the deck, so hopefully alleviate that issue, move forward. Obviously, since then, pavers are no longer counted. But that aside, my wife Karen and I have been going back and forth about the pool for the 13 years we've lived in town. And with this past year with the pandemic, it became a reality that we had to do something for our young boys. So last year or last summer was pretty bad for us. You know, we typically belong to a town pool or, you know, the lake in town. And, you know, we do a lot of outdoor activities, or at least try to keep the boys outside. And this year was especially tough, not having access, or at least we didn't want to have access to public pools and social gatherings of too many people. So we stayed to ourselves, and it wasn't that enjoyable. We thought it would be a lot more enjoyable with a pool. You know, even without the pandemic, it's tough keeping a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old boy occupied and off their devices. So this would, for us, would be, you know, a good thing for the family, for family time. A couple things too are like the hardships, at least that I see and I've identified in my application. You know, we're in an R25 zone with a 15,000 square foot property. That in itself is a hardship, because if I had that 25,000 square feet, I'd be looking at a 13.6% overall coverage with the house and the accessory, opposed to the 22.7 I'm seeking. So I look forward to your feedback, and I appreciate, you know, everything you guys have done, and, you know, I'll turn it back over to you guys. Thank you.
So I have one question. We have a note in our packet about a front step.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that before we go back?
So when my wife and I bought the house, it had a set of stairs that was already approaching the setback, the front yard setback. Part of the design, we did an overhead porch, which ironically enough, we just had to redo, but we did an overhead porch. And because the overhead porch is attached to the house, as you know, has to be, the stairs count. So we needed the stairs to be in compliance. If not, we had to go for the variance, which we did.
So then it said that, I guess the way I'm understanding is that the steps were supposed to be 31.75 from the street. And then I guess they were measured, and a stop work order was put on. And then you opted to present another plan, 2008, requesting the side front yard setback of 29.8 as it was built, but the application was denied.
Yes, so we had to rip out the stairs and build steeper. I'm sorry, not steeper. We had to build the stairs closer to the.
So you're at 31.75.
We're compliant.
Okay, that's perfect.
That was actually part of a condition to move into the house, that we had to come in compliance.
Okay, so that's all. We don't need to concern ourselves with that. Okay, perfect. All right, so anybody have comments on this? So just for the board's sake, the reason the applicant is here is they're in a zoning that's 25,000 square feet. The lot size is 15,000 square feet. So really, if you look at the section J, the first 5 variances are nothing's changed. That's all existing. So the 2 additional variances is that they have accessory structures presently at 4.8, which is now going to go to 11%. So then the overall principal and accessory is going to exceed the 20% maximum at 22.7. So that's the main reason the applicant is here this evening. So maybe before we go back, what is the 4.8 that's existing?
It's
that the deck? Okay. And that's staying unchanged. It's going to stay as is.
Yes, it planned to be.
All right, so I'll turn it over to the board. Comments?
Just to be clear, the real variance, the pool itself meets the side and rear yard setbacks, correct, Mark?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the only comment I have is, you know, on the surface, you look at it, you say, okay, the accessory structure is going to 11%, going to 11 when 5's the max. But the lot is, deficient by 40%. So, I struggle with it a little bit, but I do see the hardship. I just wanted to make sure that the pool and the pavers around the pool itself, I was looking at that correctly, and we're all compliant there.
I mean, the one other thing to look at is if the deck was removed and pavers were put down, that 4.8 would go away.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, just a comment,
Yeah.
Right.
And also too, if there's any possibility of maybe moving the shed a little bit, you could eliminate one of the other, variances, a little give and take back and forth. But that's the only.
Can I make a proposal? I was told that if I do shrink the shed or get a smaller shed, that it could probably stay there, and that would also lower the accessory coverage.
Yeah, correct me. I read this somewhere where the shed is 96 square feet.
That is correct.
And I didn't think that anything under.
If it's under this, if he does reduce it to the size that it's not considered an accessory,
Yeah.
then he would be okay on the size of this, where it's located. He would do two things. He would eliminate needing to get a variance or moving the existing shed if you don't want to grant it, because he's got to do something with this shed in its current condition. He's either going to have to move it, or you're going to have to grant another variance setbacks for this size shed. If he does reduce the size of the shed, I forget the exact dimensions on it, but if he gets it in compliance as to the size, he doesn't need those setbacks, then he will reduce somewhat the coverage issue and also get rid of that variance. So something has to happen with the shed is the bottom line. He's interested with going a smaller shed that does solve two issues, or not. It helps with the coverage and you can get rid of the setback issues on this existing shed.
Okay. Now, I was under the understanding that a shed under 100 square foot didn't have to be at the setbacks. So that's where I'm a little confused. That's 96.
I think it has to be
You're
6.
right. I don't know why you then said.
And if it's over 100 square feet, it's got to be then the accessory setbacks.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Brian. That's why I was surprised to see that it had to be, if it was 96, that had to be at the accessory setback line.
I personally was a little confused by that as well, but that doesn't.
Yeah, I think it just has to go to 6 feet if it's under 100 square feet.
That sounds right.
Not far that it has to go. If I'm not mistaken.
It's just moving the shed as opposed to satisfying the lot coverage, right? Because again, we've seen this in the past where again, we've had principal building and then you add the accessory structure and it still keeps you underneath the 20 max. But is there a way to wiggle, if you will, to reduce the size of that shed to get you to the 20 max, the combined principal plus accessory?
Probably would have to eliminate the shed, and I don't know if that would get you to the.
I don't know. Again, I
don't think eliminating does it, but
yeah.
I mean, with the other way to look at this, Mark, I'm just giving it the thing. You got a 95, 96 square foot shed that basically put them at the accessory structure coverage, 4.8, right below 5. So that shows you the hardship of the lot size, that a 96-foot shed blows away your accessory coverage.
Well, you got to remember the deck is part of the accessory also.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I mean, it definitely, the size of the lot is a hardship. I think what we need to do is just find out the requirements on the shed from the town and make it compliant, right? So
Mark, I'm pretty sure it's anything greater than 80 square foot.
I thought it was 80 because it's an 8 by 10. I'm looking at it right now, but I think it is 80.
Than 80 square feet.
I just had our illustrious engineer text me that it would have to be 80 square feet and then 6 feet off the property line. Look at you. So, yeah, so we can either move the shed or get a shed that's going to be compliant. So whatever works for you. But that would have to be addressed.
I appreciate that.
So, and it looks to me like you do have room that if you wanted to keep that shed and move it in, but that's really your decision.
Yeah, my only concern with that is that to move a 15 and 20, you're like right slap in the middle of the backyards.
Yeah, great. So maybe a new shed would be a good idea. So,
Yeah.
all right. Any other comments from the board?
No, I think, 20 by 40 pool is not egregious. The patio around the pool isn't egregious. It's 4 feet around the 3 sides of the pool. Looks like 8 feet on the shallow end. A little bit of a patio that goes to the deck stairs. I think everything here is reasonable. Nothing from, that's egregious from a coverage perspective. And, like the rest is going to be lawn. Also from a coverage perspective, the deck, yes, you can say it's accessory, but don't forget there's also, the ground underneath that is pervious. So, it's almost a good part, you don't have a massive patio where there's more runoff. So, I'm okay with this.
Any landscaping issues as far as, I see on the plan that it shows all the existing plantings. Is that all sufficient for the site?
Can I just interject real quick?
Sure.
I heard, I don't know if it was Mark. Mark had an original drawing that did not show screening over the pool equipment.
Yeah.
We do plan on putting, actually I have it written down.
Like skip laurels?
Yes.
Yeah, our plan shows three skip laurels.
Just for, all season coverage on that. And I do have existing already. I'm gonna have to pull those out. I have grass. Actually, there's a picture. Yeah, but I'll rip that out and put the skip laurel bushes.
Okay.
Unless you have other suggestions that would be better, I'm open.
Other comments?
I see no issue with it either. I would say try and get a smaller shed to be more compliant, and that the pool looks great, the size.
I appreciate that.
The only thing, I do have one comment, and I wish these pictures were numbered, but in the backyard picture where, and I know they're all the backyard, so sorry, that really wasn't a good explanation. The backyard picture where you can see the neighbor's house.
Yes.
You can see your house, which is, I guess it's a yellowish, and then you see the neighbors in the distance, which was, I'll call gray.
Yes.
And I'm comparing that to what I'll call the landscape plan. I don't see any existing plantings along the property line, or maybe I just can't make them out close enough. Are they low level plantings?
If you look to the left, about dead center, obviously this is the winter, so they're dying out, but there are bushes, tall bushes, probably about 5 foot, 6 foot tall, dead center. And right there's a couple rhododendron. There's a pine tree. There's not as many.
Okay.
But on the other two, the back and the left-hand side of the property facing the rear, I have arborvitae.
Oh yeah, I see those. That's
a big
thick
screening,
plantings. Yeah, I see those. Those are great. I just wanted to clarify that. I was trying to decipher the existing plantings, and I just couldn't tell if that hedge there was your neighbor's or yours.
Oh,
or it looks like it's shared.
That is the neighbor. It's partially on my property, but mostly the neighbors.
Okay.
On that right property line, are you going to do any kind of privacy planting for yourselves, or you're going to keep that wide open to the neighbor?
From an expense, yes, I would love to. I would like to have the whole back in arborvitae, but as you would know, it's very expensive to get something to match. That is the intent of a phasing program. I don't want to commit to something that I can't afford right now.
Okay.
That is the intent.
Well, they're also doing something in their yard, so maybe
Yeah.
we could split something with them.
Mhm.
And the seepage pit that's going to be installed, what is that going to capture?
So usually when they put the pool patio in, they have to put a storm water management in to collect all that water.
So that'll be catching on the impervious coverage around the pools.
That's what I'm assuming. Is that correct?
That's I believe that's a minimum requirement in Wycloft for a pool, that you need a catch basin.
Okay.
Yep. So the way I'm understanding this is the pool itself is 800 square feet.
Yes.
And then the patio around it makes up the proposed pool of 924. I mean, it seems kind of light, but that's.
I believe, sorry to interrupt, I believe the coping in the pool is the 924.
Okay. And then we don't count the patio, but we still need it for stormwater management, so.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else?
Where are those numbers you just reading?
Nobody else has any comments. I guess we'll open up to the public. Ms. Mitchell, I don't know if we have anybody out there.
No, we do not.
So we'll open it to the public and we'll close it to the public. Bring it back to the board. If anybody, no one has any questions, I'll ask for a motion. If somebody has a
The
question.
only thing I would interject, Mr. Boyce, is just, was a decision made on the shed? Because that has to, obviously, we either have to decide, or the applicant needs to decide, they're either going to replace it with an 8x10, they're going to move the one they have now so it complies by setbacks, or the board would have to grant a variance where it's at, so.
Well, I was going to suggest if they're going to keep the shed that they'll have to make it conforming. If they're going to want to maximize their area, then they can get a shed that will comply 6 feet off the property line. Is that enough to put into the res?
Well, it seemed like the applicant may have already kind of made up their mind, so I didn't know whether, if they did, then they can commit to it. That's what I figured.
Okay. Mr. Bauer, do you want to comment on that?
He's fading in and out.
Having difficulties, yeah.
Yeah. What a time, right? Mr. Bauer, I don't know if you can hear us, but you are on mute. Well, here we go.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you now.
Do you know my computer just crashed?
It wasn't. It literally just died.
It's happened a few times today.
Oh, it's
So
like
we're
an
at-
error code I've never seen before.
So we're at the point where we opened to the public. There was no comments from the public. Bringing it back to the board. The one question the board has is we need to make some kind of decision on the shed. If we're either going to move the existing shed to comply, or are we going to buy a new one and put it at?
I'm gonna buy a new shed.
Okay.
I'm gonna buy a new shed.
So
Perfect.
what I can put in the resolution, if the board wants to approve it that way, is that the existing shed will be replaced by one that is no larger than 8x10. That will comply. Okay.
Correct.
Is that, yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Would anyone like to make a motion? Anyone?
All right, here I come. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All
We
right.
can hear you.
Sorry. I will make a motion to accept the Brower application at 375 Butternut, block 462, lot 17, as submitted, with the exception of the replacement of the shed with a 8x10 shed that is conforming to the township ordinances regarding accessory structure setbacks.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr.
Mitchell?
Rubenacker, Mr. Hubert?
Yes.
Yes? Mr.
Yes.
Rubin? Mr. Hubert, okay. Mr. Tanis,
Yes.
Mr. Kalpagian,
Yes.
Mr. Hubert,
Yes.
Ms. Riado,
Yes.
Mr. Rubenacker,
Yes.
Mr. Borst,
Yes.
Mr. Christ,
Yes.
that's it.
Okay.
Chairman Fry has recused, so.
Well, thank you. Congratulations.
Really, thank you.
Good
very
luck.
much. We're gonna have a swim party. Everybody's invited. Yeah.
Thank you.
Except for Chairman Carl.
Yeah, between all the pools and the cabanas, we're gonna have a busy summer.
All right, take care.
Have a good night.
All, Happy New
Good
Year.
night. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Chairman, I turn it back over to you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Great job. Okay, that's it. I'm glad we got through everything. I apologize, we went a little bit late. Not too terrible, unfortunately. Nikki, how do you feel? You've had the opportunity to experience one of the meetings.
Yeah, there's a lot here.
There
Really
is.
is, but no, I feel like it's very interesting to me. So I look forward to next month.
Good, good. And listen, you'll feel more and more confident each month, but don't be overwhelmed. If you have any questions, feel free. We have tons of talent on the board, so we can certainly help you along.
Thank
You're
you.
not hung out to dry.
Welcome.
All right, good. Board, anybody else have anything to discuss before we close?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
great.
Happy New Year all. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah, have a great night.
Thanks all.
All right, stay safe, everyone.